Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Solution Club at the beginning of the new world. I am your host, Jamen. Happy to be joined by all my friends and colleagues here. And we've gotten the conversation started already, so we're going to continue from there. But just a couple words about agenda. I emailed out an agenda. We're going to be talking about some really big picture stuff about how we can leverage collective superintelligence to stop the coronavirus, stop planetary overheating and actually cool the planet, stop the destruction of the biosphere and the sixth mass extinction, and in many other ways, radically transform life on Earth for the better. So that's going to be the general theme for today. Right now, we're in an interesting conversation about the virus, different diseases, and the imperative to go vegan and whatnot. And so we're going to talk about that for a little bit. And then I thought we'd give people an opportunity to say hello, or just feel free to say hello and introduce yourself upon your first comment. That's totally welcome as well, but not obligatory by any means. So there's never any pressure to speak here on the Solution Club. With that as a brief intro, I'm going to turn it over to Kara, who has some comments to make. Go ahead, Kara.
Thank you, Jamen. Thank you all. I'm Kara Lincoln, and I Come to Talk Story, which is a U.S. nonprofit, and we're perfecting a virtual platform. Jamen has welcomed me to this many times. I try to throw my 2 cents out as much as I can. I try to help from afar, adding pieces. I really respect what all you guys are doing, and it definitely needs to be done because humanity has answers and solutions right now. I don't want to interrupt because Jamen has an agenda here, and I have an agenda, and I am more than happy to give anything that I do away to anybody, and whoever has the most efficiency platform and are willing to allow me to ask a few more questions to humanity, or we can add a few more pieces, I'm willing to do whatever I can to participate. So I'm not into controlling anything or owning anything, but I am very sensitive to my fellow Earthlings. And I don't want no one to do something for me if it's not an equal exchange, or if we're failing to, look at the person right next to us that is in more need than us. And we all have a fragmented agenda here, it appears, and I'd like to see it more harmonizing. And that's why I would just like to quickly address Dramendra. We were talking, I was a little bit late here, so we were talking about coronavirus, if I understand right. Is that true, Jamen? Okay, so sir, you being a vegan for all this time, what you just said, I really don't know of you or your entity, but I haven't eaten meat for probably 40 years. And all my life, even as a child, when I would eat it, I thought, wow, I don't want to eat an animal. So it hurt me. And then I ended up with like hives and maybe not being able to process the protein, maybe my dysfunctional upbringing. But anyhow, so I wanted to harmonize me, and I love my critters. I love my bugs. I love every fucking, I'm sorry, my language, but the viruses, the bacteria, the fungi. And sir, I don't know where you go with all this, or all of you guys, but I'm not into fear-based misinformation. And I like to teach the children right now. In fact, we've started a game. Put the powders on what we all touch, because it's really hard. I've tried it. I'm always with my fingers in my mouth because I love to eat, I love to cook, and it's really hard not to put your fingers in your face and then go and put it in your food and share it with everybody and have a good time. So we start our programs with potlucks and invite everybody. And see, I have a hard time with isolating everybody now, because if you look at the statistics, and I'm going by functional medicine, I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but the reality is, if you're healthy and if you know your immune system is in good shape and you're not into any symptomatic issues here, and you're feeling great, Dr. Jockers, and I've put this up on my site in a Google Drive document if you're interested, and you can just Google ICTTS, the initials for I Come to Talk Story, and you'll see I've got the link up on top. But the point here is, what's going on here is we have trillions of viruses and microorganisms in our body and around us that we share, and there's just a few that are toxic. So sure, what the government is doing here, and I have to throw out here, President Trump asked me to manage his campaign, his presidential campaign. And after a long talk, he says, Cara, nobody wants what you want. You know, they want immigration. And I said, well, you just wait. You wait until I put this into an economic budget, because I want to scale the earth with a group called SOCLA, as well you guys, and on agroecology. And then I want to prioritize a collective plan that I've learned from you guys as well. I keep co-evolving with y'all. I love Guy McPherson. He's been better, Jamen, than you responding. He'll talk back. But the point is here, there's so much controversy. I don't want to go there. I got sick when I first met Guy, because when he told me that we have da-da-da so much time, I'm not going there anymore. So I just know there's a lot of needy people. And what you said the other day, Jamen, about prioritizing coronavirus, this is real, I agree, but it's real when you're not educated, and when you don't have an immunity in order, and when you don't know simple common sense about hygiene. So that's why I say, even now, you know, let's have a potluck. Let's get out in the wild. Let's, you know, the wild doesn't do this to us like we do to each other, being uneducated. So even the CDC, and I wrote Jamen and Guy and Tao a letter, and I don't know, did you read it, Jamen? But the point is here, you know, there's a lot of really good stuff going on here, and the people that are really dying and sick here are frail and ill, and a lot of elderly and nursing homes, and people that have been uncared for by all of us, and unknowingly or not. So we don't have to go there. You know, I say, and I know what I do. I'll speak for me, and I'm willing to share anything. If you want to call me or email me, I can, you know, you communicate. But the point is, we have a lot of people. I had a guy right next door to me that he stunk so bad, and I told Jamen this story. But, you know, I couldn't go in because it was so filthy. But I fed him through the window of the port of his boat until I could figure this out. And when they actually did take him away, he had half a foot of fecal matter with trash on the floor. So the reality is, I'm telling Trump, you know, we need a little bit more here than masks and fear-based information. And yes, the CDC is, and WHO, I don't trust because they're fragmented. But do I respect these people? Yes, it's humanity. And they're our fellow sisters and brothers. And I told them, Jamen and the guys and the ladies have a really good idea. And you guys need to listen to them. And we all need to figure out efficiently. I've told UN for years, when I really got sick over all this of humanity being ignorant, including myself, I was crossing an ocean in a sailboat, and on shortwave I heard the Rwandan war, and I thought, what? This is really crazy. And it really made me sick. So then I had to make myself a happy camper. I'm a happy camper now, but I do it because I work, you know, like 16 hours a day. I seriously have a message board, an Earth Space message board that I'd like you guys to help with, or I'd like to share yours, or I'd like you to guide me. But I know exactly from my locals here that are very, very homeless. The ports bring in a lot of people that are ill, and the government doesn't listen. The county doesn't even have a place to put the trash that's so toxic, like the needles and everything that are found just right around the homes. And everybody thinks, oh, we're fine, we're fine. And meanwhile, my neighbor yesterday is walking with a red mask with filters that I use for sanding my boat or using epoxy. And he's doing it out in the open, walking his dog. This is crazy. You know, the medical people, first of all, need to go back to school and get different curriculum. But at the same time, right now, they don't need to be spreading this. They do need the masks. They do need the equipment. So we need to prioritize or focus here on who needs support, who needs help. And then, yes, if we're all uneducated, and that's why CDC and Trump is saying all he's doing, it is needed. And I'm saying, okay, but let's show what's really needed here. Let's show the nuclear radiation. Let's show the trillions going into the military. Let's really show. And I'll stop it right there, Jamen. Okay, I think you guys get where I'm at. But we don't need to be afraid. We need to be proactive. If you're worried right now, if you want to try to do a light assessment, Dr. Jokters and Sarah J have given a nice overview. You want to know how to take the extra vitamin C. If you're either just doing daily maintenance, or if you know, oh no, I think I should prevent myself a little bit more, take a little bit more. And then if you got symptoms of a cold or flu and you're not feeling well, easily 2 to 3 grams, 3 to 5 times a day. So there's ways that skilled people already know what to do. And then if you even got coronavirus, stay home, and have people light soups. Okay, goodbye. But when it comes back to your mantra, I wanted to know, are you, with all your skill with a big one, are you isolating yourself? Or do you feel strong immunity from taking and having all your skill, and you're not worried of catching something because your immunity, if we're strong, it will fight it. We don't have to fear it. We have to appreciate and have gratitude. Okay, thank you, man, and goodbye.
No, please stay, Cara.
Oh, I thought you wanted to tell me to shut up.
No. I do want you to shut up, but I don't want you to go away. So please stay. I mean, not shut up. Those are your words. But
I decided I'm here with you guys for a bit, but I'm not going to go for hours and hours because I have work to do. But I will stay with you, and I do want to hear your voices. And I'm always willing for you to correct me or shut me up. So go for it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to make a brief comment following on yours. Cara, you raise a lot of good points. And one of the big things I want to talk about today is how do we create a structure that can hold all this information and bubble the best information to the top. And, how do we go about this systematically? Because there's a lot of vital information that needs to get out there. And I know it can be frustrating because we've got a lot, each of us has a lot of vital information and we just want to get it out, right? So we're finding the best, we're co-creating the best way to do that here. And part of the way that we do that is we've got, I want to give everyone a chance to talk. And so I'd like to propose, since a lot of people have a lot to say, maybe we just have 2 minutes ceiling per single comment. That way we kind of keep it flowing and all that. And then it'll come back to you if you want to say more, and all of us want to say more. But this way it kind of makes it fair for everybody and gives everyone. Yeah, yes.
Can I respond to you though, just now? Can I respond just quickly? I would, number one, suggest, you guys are technical people. I can see that you're very skilled. I say we pick a day or now or 10 minutes that we talk only tech. We don't talk emotions. We don't talk people's opinions of health. We talk technical. And we look at how easy it is to make a message board, or how we can all help you, Jamen, make yours, and talk only tech. And then simple boxes, and find out where the missing, worn, torn links are and fill them in, so that when I or anybody comes aboard, right away you show them a link, you show them subject matter, they can add more, or they already are plugged in knowing where to do what, when, and how. And where's the worst, where's the best, what the stages are, and have skilled people decide number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And then we have to have respect for the human spirit. They know enough. Hey, I'm messed up. I don't know. Okay, well then you go here. I do know. And then somebody guides. And always somebody's skill is guiding, and somebody is always guiding, skilled in a conversation that everybody is kind of guiding. I'm not saying to be what do you call that, when everybody has to agree before the next agenda can go. We know enough already that 1, 2, 3, 4 can be put in place. And I've listened to many of you guys speak, and people are saying, well, what can I do? Where do I go? What do I do? And I know the problem I had even getting on Radish. And then I was on it, and then I couldn't get back on it. So technically, you guys are good, but let's not talk tech and then talk Corona. You see what I'm saying? But I agree, every time we're all together, everybody should first express what's really hurting them, or what's really inside they can't connect with, or get that group together and set them aside with somebody else if there's too many others that don't have those issues. So that kind of conversation is always number 1 priority, but number 2 priority is that somebody in this whole agenda here keeps control of the priority focus, and we stay on check. Okay, thank you all, and thank you.
Good, thank you, Cara. And please remember, everyone, to mute your microphone when you're not talking.
Oh,
and
okay.
then unmute when you're ready to talk. Great, thank you, Cara. All righty. So we've got a lot of really great points here, Cara, and it's often what we're really, this is an ongoing theme, is how do we strike the balance between, ooh, I've got a whole bunch to say. Oh my goodness, I just can't wait to say it all. And, you know, letting the baton be passed generously so everyone has a chance, because everyone's story is important here. And also we've got an agenda that I sent out last night that we can talk about. But right now we're kind of free flowing a little bit, just letting everybody say hello and say what they have to say. So I am going to keep time on 2 minutes, and let's do this. If we get to the 2 minute mark, I'm going to hold up 2 minutes. That doesn't mean stop. It just means we've hit the 2 minute mark. Please start to wind down. If we get to 2 minutes and 20 seconds, I will go ahead and mute you, right? And this applies to everyone, including myself. So, you know, and that way we just, you know, we have some order and structure. And then if somebody wants to talk longer, just request, hey, I'd like to talk for 5 minutes. I've got a whole bunch to say. Just make that request, and then we'll see where we're at. All right, but other than that, it'll be default. It'll be 2 minutes. All right, Emery has his hand raised. Go ahead, Emery.
Thanks, Jamie, and thank you, Akra, for what you've been saying. You know, it all seems quite overwhelming to me, listening to all your points and everything, and to bring all those into action. It's going to take a lot of. It's going to take some work. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're here to get there eventually. Now, the main thing I wanted to say briefly in these 2 minutes here is that I came across something that could be helpful in this corona fight here. It's a procedure which is called cold arrest. Now, apparently this virus, it dies at 133 degrees. So the objective with the procedure is to catch this virus in the sinus passages and the nose, like it enters through the nose, whatever enters through the nose, by heating up the passageway. And you do that with a hair blower, apparently, and you do that for about 5 minute treatment. You have a bottle of water in a spray bottle, and as you do the hot air, you breathe in through your nose only, and once you've done that, you spritz your nose and with the water, and you keep doing this for a 10-minute period. The alternative is saunas. Saunas are very good to kill the virus. So these are some points that I've discovered listening to, viewing YouTube. It's on YouTube. I'll put the link to the actual video that I came across that's explaining the procedure in the chat. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Emery. Good stuff. Good stuff. You know, and I want to kind of reiterate a point I was starting to make a little earlier, which is that, you know, there's a whole bunch of information that a lot of us feel urgency to get out. And the main point of this meeting is actually, how do we create a structure and system that will enable this to be an ongoing thing so that all the good information can get out. And that's what I'd kind of like to shift gears towards per the agenda. So I'll get to that. Welcome, Dylan. Welcome, everyone. And right now we're just kind of sharing and saying hello. And I'm kind of keeping it at 2 minutes per share so we can keep the ball rolling. Would anyone else like to share? Just say hello, give a brief update, even an introduction. Just raise your hand if you'd like to share. All right, Dylan's got his hand up, and Kara. All right, we're going to prioritize folks who haven't spoken. first, and then we'll lap around. Okay, Dylan, take it away.
Yeah, thanks for saying such a great agenda, James, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can build this engine to really serve some of the future. I'm looking 14 days down the road here, so I think now is the time to prepare. Whatever infrastructure we have that we need to build onto. I'm just looking at being proactive with this think tank and seeing how we can build what's necessary in structuring everything to maybe take on a lot more conversations sooner than later, because they're going to be happening without us or with us. And I'd like us to be a good forum and a safe place that I can invite people to talk that are going to have some struggling to go through. So on a personal note, I'm really, really happy this exists. And I'm going to be definitely drawing folks that are of collective like mind that do want to start sharing very openly and get some things out there. So I'm here in Maine. I'm safe. Got my family up from south, and I'm looking forward to weighing in and listening and seeing how this takes shape. Thank you so much, Jamen, for hosting.
Absolutely, Dylan. Absolutely. Thank you, brother. My goodness. For those who don't know, Dylan has emerged in recent weeks as a major, major positive force in all that we're doing here. Much appreciated. All right, Kara has her hand up. Go ahead, Kara.
Okay. So, how about this idea? If you've never thought about it, no matter what we do, where we go, where we're at, whoever you do what you're doing just now, Jamen, moderating, and then you stop for 10 minutes and you say, okay, let's just look at what we just did, and I'll just give you an example. And then but first I'd like to ask you, Jamen, when you say the structure, are you talking about the structure for the coronavirus priority structure, or are you talking about our whole platform message board? Okay, so then let's just do that and see. As an example, right now we would have a box, we'd have a link, we'd know where to go, people would tap on this link no matter where they are on Earth or space, and then now there's an alert, and this is a priority issue. Whatever you can do, come help. And I don't care if it's helping the guy across the street that wants to throw me in the water, or if it's somebody that's on the ground with carfentanil, which is a serious drug. And I really want you guys all to know that. And anything I say here, just like I say, holler and I'll tell you more, but you can Google it. It's deadly and it goes through the air. So if you see somebody down and, oh my, I need to help. Well, if you start breathing and it's there, you're talking like 2 grains of salt. And this is like a replacement for heroin, cheaper on the streets. And it's called carfentanil. It's 1,000 times more potent than morphine. It's an elephant tranquilizer. So see, again, now you're gonna see people that are ill, and we're really ill because we're uneducated and we've got this emotional misinformation that needs to really be calmed. I don't want my children to learn and see a lot of what's being discussed. We don't do that. We play games, we look at sanitation, we look at the immunity, we draw pictures of the bugs, and we show how it seriously does not affect you if you're strong and if your immunity is strong. But you got to know even what immunity is. Okay, so then to do this overview, what we can do is, okay, vegan can be the subject matter. Priority is a subject matter. Putting the text structure is the subject matter. And then now we can each go to these categories where we're each best able to share. That's all I say. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kara. And thank you for keeping it to a couple of minutes. That's much appreciated. All right. If anyone else would like to share who hasn't shared yet, please jump in and do so. There's no one in the queue at the moment. And short of that, I will give a review and overview of the agenda. And then we can talk about that. All right, so let's go to the agenda. So I sent this out via email last night. The first item is a new high-level strategy, okay? And I want this to be a conversation, so please raise your hand if you have anything you'd like to contribute to this, even as we go. So the new high-level strategy goes like this, but first I want to provide a little bit of context. We, as of, a little over a month ago when we started the block party, the number one priority at that time was cooling our planet through SRM. And I would say that with all the confusion that's out there, fake news and everything else, and deniers and all that, a relatively small percentage of the human population was really up in arms and super concerned about the planetary overheating. But only a tiny fraction of those people even knew about SRM or know about SRM and the urgency of SRM, solar radiation management. So anyway, we started off with that intense focus, right? And rightly so, and also making room for a lot of other topics. But now with Corona, what's really interesting is you've got this super urgent problem, but that everybody knows about and everybody cares about. And since it's grounded, a huge chunk of humanity, you've got a whole bunch of people who want to do something about it and are raising their hand and saying, hey, I want to volunteer, I want to help, right? So given that, the new high-level strategy that we, because it's not just me, I'll just say we are proposing, is that we start by building out the collective superintelligence with a particular focus on the coronavirus, because that's where people want to jump in and help right now, right? There's huge numbers of people that want to jump in and help. They've got information to share. They want to work on open source projects. They want to volunteer, etc. And since they're grounded at home, the way that so many of them are just so much more open to sharing through this medium, through live video conferences and collaborate there. So that's super exciting. So start out by building out the collective superintelligence, the platform, the community, the rules, everything we're doing here, with a non-exclusive focus, but nonetheless a focus on stopping the coronavirus. And then as we build out the collective superintelligence with that focus, our numbers will grow and grow and grow, and we'll have more and more techies, coders, etc., who can help build out the technical platform. And I believe we will really move the dial on stopping the coronavirus, because collective superintelligence, the way that we've been framing it, whether it's exactly the way we've been framing it or some different way, but fundamentally based on a network of conversations, a social network of people like us doing fundamentally this, talking with each other. Heaven forbid, after over 20 years of social media and tweet this and Facebook that and text and text and text here and text there, heaven forbid human beings should come together and have actual face-to-face conversations. The way we evolved to communicate, collaborate, co-create, and yes, get ourselves out of crises. Okay? So that strategy of collective superintelligence with a foundation of a network of actual conversations through video conference, that strategy hasn't changed. The only thing that changed is we just got a new nuclear bomb that dropped on us that's got everyone's attention. And so I say we leverage that. Let's go to where the people are, and the people are at Corona right now. So that's kind of the heart of the strategy. But as we build out, I see you got your hand up, Kara. I'll call on you in a moment. But as we build out the collective superintelligence focused on this, that's how I see we can go to massive numbers of people, really get that critical mass. And then here's the thing, once we've got a critical mass of people participating in collective superintelligence, everyone will focus on what they want to focus on. We still may have half the people focused on Corona, but then maybe 10% will start to say, hey, I want to work on SRM too. Because even if we kill the coronavirus, if we don't cool the planet in very short order, we're all going down. So, and of course, and then, so the way I see it, it's kind of a 1, 2, 3 strategy. Number 1, Corona, because that's where people are at now. Number 2, planetary overheating. Number 3, everything else. From going vegan to stopping the destruction of the forests, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But of course, it's all interconnected because we need a cool planet in order to solve all these other problems. All right. Kara would like to speak, followed by James. Take it away, Kara.
I agree, Jamen, that emotionally now with much misinformation and lack of education, that should be a priority to address that. And that's simple respect for humanity. But I would suggest, like right now, somebody techie here, I'm making notes for my board, if it's with you or whoever, because I don't know what you're going to charge. I don't know what we could do together. But the point is, I'd like to see some simplicity so a child can look at it. And there's many children within adult bodies that are having children. So we need to be simple here. So that can be a category. It doesn't have to necessarily, and in that category with coronavirus, again, not the only emergency of the planet, it's just that we're misunderstanding and we need to put this into a serious focus so that we don't, make ourselves more sick, which worry can do. But, we can suggest, okay, well, what do we do? What stage are we in? And I, again, go back to Dr. Jockers, Jocker. He just put out a nice video, a nice little audio quickly, a 30-minute audio. Same with Jer. He updates his Green Med site. If you Google Sarah J. J.I. These guys are well-skilled doctors. They're family men. And they're happy. They're not freaking out like what I even hear from you, Jamen. They're telling us what to do and what it takes and who is sick. There's no children right now with coronavirus, to my understanding, to his understanding. He just updated this 2 days ago of the data of how many, where, what. And these guys have been communicating with China, with the doctors there, talking about the vitamin C, the dosages of 3 to 5 grams, 3 to 5 times a day for normal people that think they might have it at home and stay at home.
We have a 7-year-old in Maine that has it.
Okay,
we have a 7-year-old. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not saying that, it's not recorded because, all of us only get so much information. And that, again, can be great from the message board. So thank you, sir. And that's what should be posted, so we are informed. But the point is not to scare the children of the reality of life because, there's many, I was dealing with Ebola in Africa and they had no clue. And we were dealing with it over Facebook, showing them, no, you can't eat that, honey. You can't pick up their clothes.
Okay, Kara, I have muted you. We're at 2.5 minutes just because we got other folks who want to talk. And feel free to get back in the queue if you want. And so we got James followed by Melissa. And Melissa, since you just joined, we're doing 2-minute ceilings, soft ceilings. So what happens is when we hit 2 minutes, I raise 2 fingers, and then you've got 20 seconds to kind of wrap up. Or I will mute you. Just kidding. But no, I really will mute people. But okay, James, please take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Jamen. I agree with what you were saying there, Jamen, and I agree with what Carla was saying there at the start there as well. But just in relation to the last half there about the children, like the statistics yesterday, half the deaths in Italy were under the age of 40 in the last week alone. They were a majority of men, all right, but there's plenty of children are being infected by this. They do have strong immune systems, and they are slightly less vulnerable to the severity of it. However, when they are carrying it, they are powerful transmitters of it. So that is something that has to be taken into consideration. Anyway, I agree with what you were saying. Not everyone anyway has input on the coronavirus, so others will want to be getting on with other things as well, such as SRM and everything else. But for now, for the coronavirus, we need to be talking strategies. We need strategies for implementation by those on the ground zero areas. In other words, we need to be talking ideas. What's the best ideas? What's the best information? We need to come up with the correct information from all like there's a lot of messed up information going out there, and a lot of people are confused. So we need to decipher the correct information so we can put out the correct information. Also, helping the needy and the vulnerable in society, it has to be discussed. Protecting those within with underlying illnesses. Like I have an underlying illness myself. I've had twice in the last number of years. I've had twice collapsed lungs. I've had major lung surgery. I have an underlying heart illness. So I'm also, as I mentioned in one of our earlier programs there, I just finished 6 years of college, but because of my medical condition, I can't work at the moment, so I'm on social welfare payments. I should have been paid today. I went up to the post office. I had to venture out in my condition, take a risk and go to the post office and mingle with people, but it was closed. I had no money. I couldn't go to the shop and I couldn't buy the things that I needed because I had no money. I know I was never informed over the last 2 days that the post office here would be closed earlier than it normally closes. However, I can understand there might be certain circumstances I might have missed out something. Again, because I'm on low income payment, I miss out on a lot of information. I'm just saying these are the strategies we need to be talking about to help people on the ground. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you, James. Couldn't agree more. And what I'm trying to shift the focus to here is that we create the structure to contain all of this information and all of these projects. So I just want to, encourage that we move the conversation in that direction, because otherwise we could share all day long about, specific treatments. Hey, I heard this, I heard that. Anyway, so point taken there. Thank you. All right, Melissa's in the queue, followed by Emery. Go ahead, Melissa, and then Nolan. Oh,
I just wanted to welcome and acknowledge that Charlie's here.
Oh, Charlie. Hey, welcome, Charlie. Great to see you.
Howdy, y'all. Yay. I guess I thought it was starting now, but I'm just jumping in a bit, so carry on. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, for sure. Much love.
Awesome, Charlie. Great to see you. And feel free to jump in the queue. Just raise your hand electronically or otherwise, and we'll get you in the queue. All right, we got Melissa in the queue, followed by Emery. Go ahead, Melissa.
Thanks, Jamen. Hi, everyone. Just listening to all of you this conversation, I just want to give a shout out for this platform for collective intelligence, because I really see that this is a place where people can come to get all kinds of information. Listening to you, Cara, I think this could be a really great place for some of these doctors to come and speak. I think we could have some kind of a bulletin board or a message board where people can go and find out about what kind of supplements to take, different techniques for if you're sick, what you can do, preventative measures. I think that we could have a wealth of information up here. Also, this coronavirus, and this is going back to what Dharmendra said earlier, it's not just a one-off event. This is the result of hundreds of years of humans abusing Mother Earth. And so we need to talk about that. We need to talk about how do we restore balance and harmony to this planet, to Mother Earth, to all species. It's not just a human condition. It's the ecosystems, the oceans, the air, the animals, the plants, the insects. And this platform is such a great place to bring this whole picture where we can address multiple things in different rooms, different conversations, whether it's about health, whether it's about food, veganism, whether it's about restoring the planet's health. So I just wanted to put that out there. Also, just going back to the children, one of the things I'm going to be doing, because I'm an artist and an arts educator, I'm going to be starting online arts classes with the children, where I'm going to take these subjects and through art, we're going to explore them so they're not afraid, but that they're aware about taking care of the planet and what does that look like? What does that mean? So I think we can get really creative and use our nations and come up with some really great ideas that can bring us together to create this new story for the whole world. All right, over now.
Beautiful. Thank you, Melissa. Great sharing. We've got Emery in the queue next, followed by Charlie. Now, Cara, are you raising your hand to be in the queue? Happy to put. Okay, so we got Emery, followed by Charlie, followed by Cara. Take it away, Emery.
Thanks, Jan. My input here is just to say that the biggest challenge that is facing the situation right now, as I found out, is to provide accessibility to the testing kits. They're developing home test kits. Now, the public in general needs to be aware that this is coming down the pike, and people, we should try to make people aware of different avenues, you know, that they can shoot towards, like telemeds, which you can get in contact with doctors to talk to get information. A lot of people are unaware of that, and we want to keep people separated. So it's a good idea to have people call in using Zoom or whatever system that they're advanced on this apparently already to a large extent, you know. So there are systems in place for telemed. And the other thing I wanted to say is that if we want to be helpful as a community here in superintelligence, collective superintelligence, okay, we're going to have to become intelligent ourselves and have the necessary information, the necessary contact people to be able to forward people in need to the correct place, and provide them a place where they can get involved to help out. And pass it on to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emery. All right, we've got Charlie up next, followed by Cara, followed by James. Go ahead, Charlie.
Hey, thank you. Wow, I'm going to try to be brief, and I might start babbling, and I'm a bit out of it, mostly in good ways. I'm super charged, and I was on, for example, one epic call earlier, which is like nothing to you guys, a 4.5-hour call earlier today. And I'm heading into another one right after this. But it's just a time for rapid sense making and rapid learning and collective wisdom. And I put some information and links in the chat in regard to Kiko Lab, or Collective Intelligence Collaboratory, that has sort of found itself called to service and to action in what we'll call Corona wisdom, you know, rapid sense making, rapid learning around, you know, what's going on, what can we do, and how to sort out all this stuff that, you know, we're already talking about as I'm joining the call. Lauren Nignon, and who's my co-founder, who's in Paris, she has twin daughters who are 7. I have daughters 6 and 9. I'm here in Zurich, Switzerland, by the way. Our schools are closed. So we're looking at indefinite homeschooling, and the schools and the teachers and the IT, everybody's scrambling, and no one has it together, but everybody's doing it, and they have to do it, and we might as well enjoy it and just be excited about it, because it's amazing opportunities. And, you know, obviously in the face of you know, a lot of suffering and death and militarization and huge privacy issues and all kinds of stuff. We're going for it. This is it. And so, I mean, maybe that's enough for now. But thanks for doing what you're doing, and anyone's welcome to take a look at those resources.
Awesome. Beautiful, Charlie. Well, you are a huge inspiration to us, and we're a huge inspiration for the start of the block party. So great to have you here, and thanks for all that you're doing with Kiko Lab and everything. So much more to share about all that.
And we'll be back for the repository, by the way. We're going for the Radish Knowledge Repository.
Oh, Radish Knowledge Repository?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm being a bit teasing, but I think we have a lot to do together and talk about and process. You know.
Totally. So let's work together on it. That's it. Let's bring all these collective intelligence groups together. I mean,
interoperability, baby.
That's it, babe. I mean, that's why we started the block party. We're like, wait a second, we've got all these fragmented groups here, there, and everywhere. Let's throw a weekly block party so we can all come together. So that's a big part of it. Anyway.
I want to second that. No more fragmentation, guys. We got to all come together and work together.
Thank you, Melissa. Beautiful. All right. Well, we got a couple folks in the queue. We got Cara, followed by James. Cara, if this is a good moment for you, please take it away.
Oh, okay, thanks. Melissa, what I would suggest, and I guess unless you guys want to decide a different name for this, but I'm just going to say a text structure, and back to reiterating what we've already discussed. But like right now, there should be somebody logging in. And what I've always done in past meetings is we take turns logging. But you log in so those that aren't there can see. But you're saving this video, so that's good. But to log in the text structure so that right now your art, Melissa, as an example, with children can be viewed by an elderly or any age, and they can start learning immunity. Because if we don't start classifying the emotion, who cares? And your body is not going to gain, your brain or your gut, if we're already in a controversy over functional medicine and Western medicine. So you need to have those categories. And then we need to require them, which we already are, to debate and have the conversation. And as well, if I'm telling you to, or they're telling, the skilled, and when I say I speak for them. I'm not even pretending to be skilled. But I do have a skilled Dr. Yun Wang in the Seattle area, and I have functional medicine people, and they're all just trying to, they too are adding, 30-minute quickies. So who cares if you're taking 250, 500 milligrams of vitamin C as an example daily, because that's your regimen, or now you might be heightened a little fear and stress, so you take 1 gram 2 times a day. But then now if you really feel lousy, or if you've got an illness, 3 to 5 grams up to 10, 15 grams a day. And then the functional doctors were communicating all along with China doctors, and they're doing the IV vitamin C. But the point is here, if we don't calm our minds and focus on that, no matter how much frickin' medicine you do, it don't make sense to go 5 steps forward and 3 back. So the point is, we need to have that category. How much from who? And then if you want to listen to functional, you listen to them. You want to listen to Western, you listen to them. But why are you ill? Why are the coronaviruses getting caught? Why are people dying? Those illnesses of those people need to be defined and not blame it on the coronavirus. See, that's what's happening. Statistically, Dr. Jockers and Sarah, they looked at that and said,
all right, we're at the 2.5 minute mark, so I went ahead and muted you, Cara, so we can keep it flowing. And I know you got more to say. And Melissa, you got a quick response? Go ahead. And we got James in the queue. Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah, I really like Cara's idea. I teach art to elders as well in Seattle. I'm gonna ask if we can do joint Zoom art classes with elders and children. I think that's a great way to get our mind off stuff and bring a happy mood, even though it's a weird mood right now, to create this sort of positive mental state. But I also wanted to ask you, Cara, if you could in the chat, maybe you could put the names of these doctors and any links or references, so it's hard to understand the names, and that way we can all access them. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Melissa. All right, James is next in the queue, followed by Jamen. take it away, James.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. No, I won't keep it long. Just getting back to what I was saying about getting suggestions for help on the ground. At the moment, what I've been noticing here anyway, and it's the same everywhere else I've been hearing on the news, is that hospitals and private doctors' surgeries are under severe pressure because a lot of people are running to them with flu-like symptoms and everything else. The main two symptoms, obviously, like to look out for, is a sudden onset of a dry, persistent cough and a high temperature. The other flu, sniffly noses and things like that, they're not really, they're just an ordinary cold, probably. Anyway, because the hospitals and the private doctors are under so much pressure, another way of alleviating the pressure from them and the flow of patients coming into them as well, as again, I'm going back to long-term patients on long-term meds, such as myself. I have medication for the rest of my life. I have to go to my doctor every couple of weeks and get the prescription filled out and go to the chemist, get those meds again. So I'm interacting, I'm going to the doctor's surgery and taking up the doctor's surgery's time, and I'm interacting in the pharmacies, taking up their time with something that I'm going to be taking for the rest of my life anyway. I think in the circumstances, I think people on long-term meds should be prescribed 6-month prescriptions. And if they can't afford the prescriptions, a slow payment plan could be made to pay back later on, just so that they have their meds on hand and don't have to be taking up time of the doctor's surgeries, hospitals and pharmacies. So I think that would be a handy suggestion. And also those that are vulnerable at home, they're talking in England and here about protecting them most of all. So keeping them quarantined for up to as much as 3 months. People will have to bring them food and supplies in the meantime. I think they should also be supplied with masks for when they do come in contact with those that are delivering their foods, and disinfectants as well.
Beautiful. Thank you, James. All right. We got Jamen in the queue next, followed by Charles. Take it away, Jamen. No, don't mind if I do. All right. So reiterating an earlier point, here's where I want to get to is I would like us, humanity, to get to the point where we have a whole network of these conversations going on live at any given time and a whole calendar for the next several weeks, recurring meetings, etc., so that all of us have visibility into all the meetings that are happening. So what meetings is Radish organizing? What meetings is Kiko Lab organizing? What meetings is anyone organizing? So for example, we found this open source community working on open source solutions related to the coronavirus. And we found out they have a daily meeting that starts at 6 a.m. Pacific time. So we went to the one on Saturday morning since it started right at the tail end of the 24-hour block party. And we had a great meeting with them. Get those up on the calendar, right? So basically like a universal calendar of conversations, of video conferences. That is such a basic thing. And in fact, Charlie and I and Nolan and a few others were talking about this a couple of months ago. And I said, why don't we just have like a big meeting of that? And Charlie said, yeah, like a block party for collective intelligence. And it was just like, bing, that's it. And so then Nolan and I went and freaked out, as we often do after hearing a love bomb of wisdom from Charlie and company. We went.
You took it pretty seriously, huh?
We took it so seriously that we didn't organize a block party. We organized a 24-hour block party. And we didn't just organize one 24-hour block party. We organized one every Friday, Saturday for 24 hours. That's how seriously we take it. So Charlie, when you come here and drop wisdom, watch out, right? It's like Jack throwing beans in the garden, think, oh, useless beans, la, 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 boom. Next thing you know, there's a giant beanstalk and a giant up there with a harp and, all this stuff. So, Charlie, welcome. And your words, out of your words, magic beans are popping.
Magic
right.
beans. Do you know this? Is Nolan, were you going to go or did? No?
Oh no! In the queue, after me, you're up next, and then Emery has his hand.
Oh, okay.
raised.
Okay, great. Actually, so maybe it's a question more for Nolan or for you, Jamen, or I wanted to talk about Zoom, and also I guess Otter, because and one question, maybe two-part question. Update us a bit on that conversation if there's something there. I'm excited to hear. And then I didn't even read it, but there was a headline that flashed past from Mashable that there was like serious privacy concerns with using Zoom, and it's becoming, you know, another part of the big shitstorm and all of that. So there's a lot more to say within all that, but I'm just curious because Zoom is still, you know, we're on Zoom. Most of the people that I'm dealing with use it and mostly love it. There's a few that are eliminated because they have special operating systems and Zoom doesn't work with that, for example. And then just the question about data sovereignty and just the ongoing stuff with Radish and Zoom and Otter, please.
Okay, beautiful. I'm going to put Nolan in the queue and ask him to respond to those, and I can help him with that as well. Meanwhile, we've got Emery in the queue, and then we'll get right back to what you raised, Charlie. Go ahead, Emery, followed by Nolan and Jamen.
Yeah, Jamen, this for you. After the meeting we had there last week, there was talk about Slack and how they're set up. You know, they have a number of different channels, okay, and each channel each created channel has a designated subject matter, okay, and geared towards you know, similar to what we're doing here, okay. But we wanted to, I think, establish some kind of a landing platform where people could come initially and then be directed to these other channels. But can you explain a little bit more in detail how we would do that similarly, or are we going to make some kind of connection with Slack, with passwords and all these things? You know, it's pretty complicated to set up, and you're gonna have to have people designated to operate that.
Beautiful, great questions and comments, and that's a perfect lead-in. So at this point, as the moderator for this meeting, I'm going to designate that we kind of shift gears right now to really focus on the structure, the infrastructure, this universal calendar that we're talking about, Zoom video conferences, Otter AI, Slack, you know, how do we put it all together? So I'm going to let Nolan go next, and then I've got some comments to make on this front, and let's kind of shift into this systematic system mode. How do we create this system to bring us all together and help make sense of all this? And I'm going to ask Charlie to jump into the queue frequently, and anyone else who's got good stuff to say about this, as we all do. Welcome my brother Fred, welcome my brother Evan. Great to see everybody here. And Nolan, if you're ready, take it away.
Sure. Well, as far as privacy concerns with Zoom go, I am not researched on that. Super curious, and I've heard that from one other person, a concern about that within the past few weeks. I guess part of me this whole time has assumed that we'd end up using Jitsi most likely when we're getting really serious about programming this whole thing and creating the mega infrastructure.
Super quick question.
Yeah.
Just maybe a quick comment. What's your experience with Jitsi so far in terms of how robust it is, or the experience?
I haven't used it a ton. I've used Zoom way more. But my experience with Jitsi has been good. I don't think I've had any serious issues with it. The last time that Jamen and I used it with with Jeff and Dylan and folks, that seemed to work pretty well. Maybe Jamen can chime in here if he remembers there being any issues, but I thought it was smooth.
Okay, cool. I say generally I agree with some slight exception, some questions maybe, but I don't have enough experience either so far.
Emery here. I didn't like Jitsi personally. Personally speaking, I think it's way too complicated for nothing. You know, Zoom is streamlined, it's cutting edge.
It doesn't work for everyone, unfortunately, when we're dealing with free software, open source type of people, for various reasons. They take themselves out of using certain tools. So that's, you know, there's like this one person, for example, in my circle that just doesn't do synchronous calls almost ever, and that's his choice, and he does a lot of other things. But so yeah, anyway, I don't want to digress, but I don't think it's so much complicated. I think it's a question of does it work as well for me, and then it has other benefits. But please go on.
Very good. Nolan, were you continuing to roll?
The only thing I have left to say is just from my experience with it, with Jitsi, which is pretty limited. The first thing that comes to mind is I think the video quality is not as good. And audio seems fine. But I really need to have more experience with it, and we need to probably just switch off between using this and Jitsi sometime to just get some more experience with that. Jamen, you can excuse me, take it away if you want.
Sure. Awesome.
Can I just quickly comment on a technical thing, which is what actually happened to me earlier today when we tried to use Jitsi and then we reverted to Zoom. So in situations with, as is common, limited bandwidth, crappy, choppy connections intermittently for individuals respectively, but then sort of the cumulative effect of everybody's on and off and fluctuations in bandwidth provides challenging latency that has a similar herky-jerky aspect. That's what I experienced today. So that's my quick comment there.
All right, very good. So I think just a quick comment on Zoom versus Jitsi, and then I'll go to kind of a larger point. I agree with Nolan. I think I don't think this is exactly what Nolan was saying, but what I'm saying is let whoever's going to organize a meeting, let them choose the platform, right? And that way we can, you know, just collectively as a community, we'll gravitate towards Zoom, or we'll gravitate towards Jitsi, or we'll gravitate towards multi-platform, whatever. I don't, that's for me, that's a lesser concern than the big picture. And the big picture that I see is that we have an urgent burning need for there to be a kind of a universal calendar that anyone can submit and say, hey, I'm, you know, going to be hosting a meeting this Wednesday from 2 to 4 Pacific time, and everyone's welcome. And here's the topic, right? And it was out of this kind of frustration, and Charles got a quick question. Go ahead, Charles.
I didn't mean to interrupt, excuse me. So, but just to weave it in whenever it fits, I was also interested, actually, among some other groups of, to either talk directly to Zoom or sort of learn to know what you guys, if you're still discussing, and actually to work with them and to tweak it out. So please continue.
Yeah. No, and that's a super important topic. And so I was just saying, so in the direction of this universal calendar, So out of frustration that we were so fragmented, right, we created the block party as a weekly thing. We've done 5 of them so far, 5 24-hour block parties. We're feeling great about the progress there and the culture and the community that's forming. Everyone here, with maybe one exception, has been on the block parties, and many dozens others. So what we did was, and what we do every week now, is we just create a calendar for that 24-hour period, but it's all meetings that are on the block party. Now we want to go from there to updating the calendar, whether it's our calendar or some other calendar, but how do we create this universal calendar, right? So that anyone, any group, any individual who wants to host a meeting can put it up there and anyone else can join. One other related topic to that is we also want to get to a point where we have a standing video conference meeting that anyone can join that literally goes 24/7. It just becomes this sort of base camp. Any hiker, backpacker, speaking metaphorically, can just show up and say, hey, I heard about you all, and I heard about this universal calendar, and I heard about this network of conversations. I'm here, and I just want to know where to plug in. Perfect. Welcome, brother. Welcome, sister. You've come to the right place. And here's what we're all about. And here's a link to the map of all the conversation, or the universal calendar, right? I kind of see 2 things: a universal calendar and a kind of a topical map that shows all the topics that we're working on, and even conversations located on that topical map, right? For me, those are the 2 fundamental things: calendar and topical map. And of course, they fit together. So if you click on a topic on the topical map, bloop, it'll highlight on the calendar all the upcoming conversations on that topic, right? Anyway, those are kind of the 2 fundamentals. So I'd love to kind of jam on that, because once we have that, then, well, here, let me just give you an example of some topics that we're going to be putting on this Friday's block party, okay? So this is just a quick little parenthesis just to give some color and flavor to what I'm talking about the calendar, right? And the topics and the meetings that we could have there. So related to Corona, there's 2 big sort of topic groups, major topic groups related to Corona. One is stopping the spread of the virus, and the other is treating those who are infected, right? 1, 2. In terms of stopping the spread, we've got 5, major subtopics under stopping the spread of the virus: how to stay healthy, large-scale distribution and delivery of food to everyone to be able to empower people to stay in their homes and not have to go out and shop. Closely related to that are all the other topics of all the other human needs that we need to address, whether via home delivery or picking people up to take them to an appointment or whatever. So that's just a whole bundle of topics there. A 4th is open source, do-it-yourself Corona test kits, or easily distributable test kits. Let's just say Corona testing is really the big topic. And then the 5th is sanitation standards, processes, products, and services, how to keep everything clean. Anyway, so that's all under stopping the spread. For treating those infected, we have pharmaceutical treatments and their development, open source and otherwise, natural treatments, home remedies. Anyway, these are just some examples of topics that we're going to be packing into the block party, but really we need a whole taxonomy of topics, not just for Corona, but for cooling the planet, stopping the destruction of the biosphere and the 6th mass extinction, building community, transforming culture, transforming governance, et cetera, et cetera. All right. But again, I really want to encourage us all to keep the focus on universal calendar and universal map. And with that, we've got Emery has his hand raised, and let's see. And I got a question from Kara, but I'm just going to put Kara in the queue so that you can say what you want to say. So we got Emery followed by Cara. Go ahead, Emery.
Yeah, this is to you, Jamin. I understand how you described, you just gave a very good description of intent on how we would like to proceed, you know. But let's take that a little bit further, okay, and let's paint a scenario, okay. Somebody comes along to the block party, and wants to plug in and go to where he needs to go. And I mean, we've got this set up, right? We're going to have this set up. So what is the remedy that we're going to offer? Is it just going to be a link to, okay, I understand what you're looking for, and we've done the research here, and we're intelligent enough. We're gonna provide you with this, and that. Okay, go. Here's the link. Here's the information, and you know, you take the next steps you need to. I mean, how does that work exactly? I mean, or are we gonna be closer linked to those people, or is it just are we just gonna provide them a go-to, you know?
Yeah, really good questions, Emery. Happy to address those. We've got Cara in the queue, followed by James, and I'll put myself in after James to answer those questions, Emery. Really good ones. Okay, Cara, you're up. If it's a good time.
Thank you, Jamin. Okay, well, I see your chat now. Thanks, Melissa. I'm not aware of all this on Zoom yet, but so I just didn't want to take up your guys' ability to talk. But I still see this list, and is somebody logging for the structure of a tech design? And even like Nable is a format that I've used for a long time, but basically you got to excuse me in my work on Google and Nable because I vent a lot and I've worked with a lot. Google gives me $10,000 a month in ads free for my ad grant for my nonprofit. And the reality is I give my stuff away. And I've only tried to donate lately because we had a huge fund and then human ears and then it was all messed up. So I was going to hire techs. I was going to hire you, Jamin, and you guys. That's why I asked you. But we seriously need a message board. And there's other entities that have message boards already. I don't have those links right here handy to show you. But and then you put your subject matter on and your audience, you know, and then you're paying them. But you guys are tech. Are you going to do it? Are you going to do all this? Do you want to do all this so you're not paying outsiders? Do you want to take on that responsibility? I see it can be real simple, and I'm not a tech, but to know, you know, what you're doing, and then to look at it in stick people even, or blocks. And you've got to quit fragmenting. You got to focus on text structure, and you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, and then you figure out technically how to do that app. And then all of us message boards link, or all of them say, why am I doing this if Jamin is doing it? Why is Jamin doing it when UN should be doing it? Why are the presidents not doing it in the govs? And I'm working on a peace platform right now with a handful of govs, and they are listening. Boy, they've gotten mad at me because Jamin, I can get mad like you, you know, and we're human, but I'm trying to stay calm myself too. But I'm looking at the bigger picture, the nuclear that's going around that radiates our immunity. And Jer Chi is even saying what we can do to strengthen our immunity against radiation. So we have to have this category in the message board of skilled people to guide us right now. So I've given links on the chat, wictts.org. If you go there and look, the top links, I give you their names. I've given them here on the chat. So thank you guys. I'll keep chatting until you want to ask me something, okay? Otherwise, I don't want to interfere. I really appreciate what you're all doing. And we need to get this technical stuff done.
Yeah, Cara, it's not an interference. What you just said is exactly why we are here, so that everyone can express what they want to express. It's not an interruption. It's not an imposition. Cara, please keep putting yourself in the queue.
Well, honey, do you want me to talk though, or do you want me to chat? You tell me, you guys.
Well, I would love for you to do both. So when you want to talk, just raise your hand and I'll put you in the queue.
Okay.
And chat away in the meantime. And we've got, so far we've got James in the queue, followed by Jamen. Take
Well,
it
see,
away.
and I even like, and Jamin, see, I even like what some of you guys are saying technically, and those names already should be logged in. So I can go in and retrieve them, because I don't know if they're chatting. I just started looking at the chat, thanks to Melissa. But I also, right now, that should be logged in. So if we want to know the TELMED or whatever that was, because we should focus, if you're going to focus on Corona and the structure, we need to focus on priority issues of people actually dying on the street, or how to make a nice bone broth recipe, how to call your neighbor, walk, ask the neighbor 6 feet afar, 6 feet away, you know, how you doing? Can I make you food today? Are you weak? You know, we got to stay strong here. Can I clean your house? How about sitting in the sun? Get some vitamin D. Do I need to get you some vitamins? What are you eating? You know, this is simple common sense that we should do with our neighbors. You know, that's what I do all the time. And the universe is keeping me busy, guys. So I can yada more than you'll ever know. So thank you. I'll let you go. I'll let you talk.
Awesome. Thanks, Cara. And just to reiterate a point I made a little bit ago, what I'm trying to orient the meeting towards right now is the structure, right? And less of the tidbits, because we could fill up the next 30 days just with tidbits, but then it all goes into this jumble, right? Let's focus on the structure so that the tidbits have a logical place to land, right? And
okay, well, what terminology are you using right now for the structure, Jamin and you guys? What are you talking? Are you talking code for the app? For a message board? Are you talking money? Are you talking, what do you need?
Yeah. So here's what we're talking right now, and this will be me reorienting the conversation towards structure. Okay. So I'm just going to do this since you asked, and I want to really try to guide us back on track. And then James will be next in the queue, followed by Jamen. So what are we doing for the structure? We're creating a universal calendar of all the video conference meetings so that people can plug in with those groups where they want to plug in, and we can start to form clusters and sub-communities that actually talk with each other and then reference other meetings, and then they go to the other meetings as well. And so we kind of create this community that's this not polyamorous, but polytopical. Right? So any given person can go to multiple different topics. Maybe they're the expert on one, but just curious about another. And this way we socialize the whole thing, and we become this community that can talk with each other. So it starts with conversation. So it starts with, so like, let's say you really want to talk about home remedies and how to help your neighbors and all that. Okay, fine. Maybe there's a meeting on home remedies. Please go to that one and say what you have to say there. Helping your neighbors. Maybe there's a meeting on community that's all about helping your neighbors. Go to that one and talk about helping your neighbors. This meeting that we're having right now is actually on neither of those. It's neither on home remedies, nor is it on how to support your community and your neighbors. It's about structure and technology. So the things that I'm encouraging us all to really focus on here are that universal calendar, a universal map of topics and conversations, Slack channels, message boards, technologies, etc. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm orienting this meeting to be about. And I see you got your hand up. I just want to give James an opportunity since he's had his hand up for a while, followed by Jamen, and then Cara, you're back in the queue after Jamen. Okay, go ahead, James.
Yeah, thanks, Jamen. No, yeah, I agree with what you said. I just want to let you know, like, I'm not the best with tech myself, but I understand where you're coming from. So basically, my understanding of this is now like that. If I want to get involved with the collective intelligence, I want to find out information about a certain topic or whatever, I just click onto you'll have basically like a universal billboard too, as well, I suppose, in a sense, like with an index of subjects. So the person goes on, he gets an index of subjects. Now I'm only going from my idea, my point of view of my understanding of this, and I'm not the best at tech, so this is my understanding. So if I'm getting it right, I'd imagine most people would. So I go on, get the link, I go on to the link of collective intelligence. There's a billboard with an index of subjects. Obviously I know what subject I want to be in, I'm interested in myself, so I look to see if that subject is there, the subject's there, and then there's a posts with meeting posts. with links to the meetings and with necessary apps required to get into those meetings, all in relation to that subject that you want to speak about. And the conversations that you want to get involved with are there then at appropriate times. And if they're not even available at that time, then there's a history of the conversations prior that took place with links to the information that you might also require if there's not an ongoing meeting at the time. So if I'm right, I think that's what you're on about. And I think that's a brilliant idea. That's the way to go, strategize that. I know what you're saying. We're getting distracted with talking about remedies or, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, James. All right. Jamen is next in the queue, followed by Cara, followed by Emery. Take it away, Jamen. Okay. So back to what I was talking about the tech, and I really feel wonderful about this meeting because I feel like we're getting close. We're really starting to zero in and get crisp and clear. We know we need a universal calendar of meetings. That's for sure. We know we need a map of topics, a taxonomy of topics and of conversations on that map, right? So those are two fundamental things. And then Emery had brought up Slack channels, and also message boards were brought up. What we at Radish have been envisioning for quite some time is kind of the following, just really simple sort of pattern. I'm not going to call it a structure yet, but just a pattern. The pattern would go like this. Let's say we have there's a 4-hour meeting on one topic in the taxonomy, like, for example, home remedies for the coronavirus, for example. We have a meeting. That meeting goes for 4 hours. And let's say every week there's a scheduled 4-hour meeting on home remedies. In between those meetings, there could be all kinds of discussion forum conversation on Reddit, for example, right? So a Zoom meeting for 4 hours, and then for the next 164 hours prior to the next weekly 4-hour Zoom meeting, 164 hours of Reddit, and then 4 hours of video conference, followed by 164 hours of Reddit. You get what I'm saying? But both of these resources would be up on the map, right? And they'd be connected to each other. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Let's keep it flowing. What a wonderful conversation. Cara is up next, followed by, Nolan.
We have a new guest. I just wanted to acknowledge.
Oh, yeah, totally. I see your name as Amdev. Welcome, Amdev. And by the way, you're muted. There you go. Now you're unmuted. So please say hello and welcome.
Hello.
Amdev.
I'm just here to audit. I'm Michael Linton. I work with Open Money Development, which is community currencies. Charles has flagged something. I followed the flag. Carry on.
My brother.
Hi, man.
Awesome. Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Briefly here and then out. Sorry to interrupt, but I look forward to the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's no interruption, Michael. In fact, the way we're doing it here is we've got a queue, and you're in the queue. You got the floor right now, and I, as a moderator, I'm keeping time and keeping it to 2 minutes.
I would
just
venture to say that Michael Linton is wonderful in so many ways, too often too understated. One of your very few faults, perhaps.
No, actually, understatement is a huge virtue. And in fact, I've noticed so many wonderful people here who are understated. So, Michael, you are so welcome here. Please feel free to share, Michael. It's not an interruption. We're very grateful you're here. So please share whatever you'd like to share.
Really, I just want to hear the flow, please. Love to see what's happening. Passing the mic.
Beware of Michael Linton. Got to beware of this guy.
All right, everybody be wary, and let's keep it flowing. In the meantime, we've got Cara in the queue, followed by Emery, and followed by Jamen. So please take it away, Cara, and everybody feel free to get in the queue. Yes, Cara.
Okay, I can only share me, and I've been with you guys since you started, on and off, and Guy. But I feel an introduction is needed, And my idea was, and when I say I speak for all of us, maybe not you personally at this time, but many that I've worked with. So the introduction with, as an example, SOCLA, which is a Latin American group of scientists that have patches all over the planet with, agroecology. And they've had terrible histories of land grab and sea fresh water. So they know this, it's just not nice. But the point is, what we can do, I'm pushing it because I know how good they are. And we need whole food right now, today. We need to be eating the right diet. We don't need to be sitting here burning out. And see, I can't support you guys as talking for hours and hours and hours. I'll quit soon because I have to go to work. But, we have to be aware of what wears us down. And we really need to feed our gut. And that's one great thing about functional medicine. Okay, otherwise we can't think, our brain don't work. Okay, but the oral series they just had on with Health Talks, and you can get all this free. All of these diseases that come from our mouth into our body, there's so much we don't know. And when you said, one of you guys was saying home remedies, maybe you did, Jamen, this shouldn't be home remedies. This should be skilled doctors, IFM, Institute of Functional Medicine. This is skilled doctors. And I'm put it on the chat, but you all can go there and find out, put in your zip code, a doctor's close to you. So this is skill that we need for, even Melissa, when you teach the kids or the grandmas, about the viruses, it needs to be guided by skill. Google now is doing a lot, and they do a lot for education. In fact, I was just looking for a link that they're willing to do classes and give them free. So, basic structures if people need that. But so the introduction, I would take music, videos, real links of these people growing agroecology that talk about conversations just like this and the prioritizing on the planet. And then, I think we seriously should set the conversations for hour, no more than 2 or 3 hours, but it is nice that everybody can talk and get what they need known and for that link. But where right now are you saying is the link to this technical structure to continue this platform, to build the message board, to build an intro, to actually introduce people to where they go, what, and how to see priorities of the earth, of the space? Okay, are you telling me to shut up?
Oh, I'm telling you that I'm ready to answer your question. Also, you've gone beyond 2.5 minutes. I normally would have muted you, but it felt like you were winding down.
The budget. I need to know the budget. I'm not going to ask you guys to help me if you're in need of something, or how can I help you, or where are we right now with this technical structure that we can have a link right now so that I know where to put this and that, instead of I got it on your chat, now I'm going to have to go back again and put it up on your message board, or I just link you to my message board. And then that's more time and energy for everybody. Goodbye.
Okay, Cara, I totally understand your question, and I'm going to reiterate it just so that you get that I understand your question, and then I'm going to answer it. Okay? So your question is, where the hell is the link? Where do we put this stuff? Where is the structure? You keep talking about it. Where is it? Right? That's your question. Okay? To show you that I understand your question and your concern. And now I'm going to answer it. Okay? Cara, the link does not yet exist. What we're talking about here is creating something that does not yet exist. Okay? So we're having a creative, exploratory conversation about structure, about technology, about how do we put together this urgent Noah's Ark that does not yet exist. Okay? All right. So that's my answer, and I'll talk more about that when it's my turn in the queue. Next up in the queue is Emery, followed by Jamen. Take it away, Emery.
Jamen, honey, you have the
Thanks, wait, sorry, Cara?
I'm sorry, Jamen, you have the radish.org. Why is that not the link?
Well, here's the thing. That is the link to our website, and we are working on the structure within Radish and within this community, right? But the structure that we want does not exist yet. Just because I have a website doesn't mean that it has this magical structure that we're trying to create.
But all we need is subject matter and indexes and logging.
We need a whole, Cara, we need a whole bunch of stuff. And that's why we're having this conversation in a structured way with focus. So let's all continue with it. And then I really believe we'll get there. if we continue with this process, which I think is phenomenal, what we're doing right now. So everybody just stay on your horse, don't fall off. Raise your hand when you want to get in the queue. We want to hear from everyone. Emery is next in the queue, followed by Jamen. Take it away, Emery.
Thanks, Jim. I had exactly the same thing that Carol was talking about, introductions being an absolute key to proceed. We're going to have introductions. People will, you know, let us know what their capabilities are and what brings them to join us, and you know, that's key. Now, in conjunction with that, I find that the website called brain fart. Hang on. Oh, geez. Excuse me. There's a website that I've been using. Hold on a second.
Not Wakelet.
Yeah, Wakelet. Yeah, thanks. I don't know why that just skipped my mind. I'm trying to think so fast. Wakelet, it's great. It's a great platform where you could be like and introduce yourself, you know, with a lot of things there. You could do writings, you can post links and things, and that then can be entered into a website like radish.org. People could go there to have a, you know, to check out who's involved and where they can be reached. And then you can go there and find out more. And you could leave a video, like a video also with the site. There's a process there. Anyway, I just wanted everybody to check that out.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emery. All right. Next up in the queue is Jamen, followed by Kara. And everyone, please put yourself in the queue, and we'd love to hear from everyone. And Michael, looks like Michael needs to be rolling here to your next meeting, and you'll be back soon. We'll be going for several hours, Michael, so please keep coming back. This meeting may well go for 8 hours, 10 hours, I don't know. So yeah, no, we go long time. We love you long time. And also on every Friday, we have our 24-hour block party. You want a long meeting, we go for 24 hours straight. We start at 6 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. Radish.org has all of the information on the block party and on this meeting, I believe, as well. Nolan, thumbs up if that's the case, thumbs down if it's not. All right, next in the queue is Jamen. And Michael, feel free to say goodbye or say hello. Go ahead, Michael.
Just saying goodbye. Thanks very much, guys. Got to rush.
Awesome. We'll see you back again very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. All right. Next in the queue is Jamen, followed by Kara, followed by Stephanie. All right. Jamen, take it away. Okay. So I love this. See, now we're putting stuff on the table of possible, you know, Lego pieces that we can connect in. See, we're creating this thing, right? And just very metaphorically, right now, what does the thing consist of? There's a website, radish.org, where we have information and a schedule for the block party. The block party is a major block, but it's only one thing. This Tuesday meeting is another major block, but it's only one thing. We need the universal calendar of all such meetings, so we can all, you know, cross-pollinate and be, again, not polyamorous, but polytopical, and jump around to all these different topics and meetings. And see, this is how we build a global community, by meeting with each other and meeting on different topics and folks gravitating towards those topics they want to get to. I love that Emery mentioned Wakelet. Emery and Nolan mentioned Wakelet. Melissa also recently started using FlipGrid with her community of educators with great success. We know Reddit is super solid. We love Reddit. You know, we need to get some system of message boards. Charles typed in the chat that we don't just need, you know, a list of who's who in the zoo, but deep profiles, right? I love that, deep profiles. So let's continue to put these vital pieces on the table that we're seeing, and then we'll see how to assemble them all, right? Okay, next up in the queue is Cara, followed by Stephanie, followed by James. Take it away, Cara.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, blocks is a great way to talk about this, but like even on your Radish site, you could have landing pages, right? And each one could be a block, and each one could have its own calendar. And then, do you know Quora? Do you even like Quora? They're huge. And then, see, my neighbor, who I have my other site, I'm going to be talking to them because they offer many, many forums to embed even into Radish, and that's free. And so there's options here, but I'm willing to give, I don't know if any of you saw the No to NATO 2019 activism in front of the White House a year ago or so. But I worked with Joe Leonardo in Venezuela and the president to actually, I gave 10,000 a month of my Google ads, and Google, you know, I have to do certain things to keep that going technically, and it's hard, I have to learn. But I also, they gave it to me, I mean, they support me, they like me, so they try to help. But I gave, I talked to Joe. Joe said, Cara, I want you to advertise so many ads in this county, this state, this country. And Google will advertise everywhere except for maybe like 5. They won't do Cuba. There's certain countries they won't do, and I still want to reach them too. I love Cuba. I love Russia. Anyhow, so the point is, you know, I'm willing to do that if you guys want to have an intro. And then we make this intro, and I was going to do Google Earth Space because they give me a lot for Google Education, but they'll also give all of you, you know, freely and or for business some more. But I'm willing to use my nonprofit to give what I can to you guys in exchange. So anyhow, take it away. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cara. And I want to welcome Brett, who just joined us from England. We've also got Spiral. I don't know the name. It's got the website livehopefestival.com. Welcome, Spiral. And next up in the queue, we've got Stephanie. Great to see you, Stephanie. Followed by James, followed by Dylan. And I'm also going to forcibly insert Brett into the queue since he's one of my favorite people on planet Earth and love to hear from him. All right, Stephanie, please take it away. And we're on kind of 2-minute intervals because we got lots of people have lots to say. So try to be concise if you can. Brett, since this will be your first time talking, you can have a full 5 minutes if you want. And also because you're so awesome. All right, Stephanie, take it away. Great to see you, Stephanie. And please, also no restriction on Stephanie since it's her first time talking.
Thanks very much, guys. I'm kind of thinking more about collective intelligence and getting this bit more grown in population, basically. And I'm just thinking in terms of, like you were saying, a calendar, a global calendar, and all these ideas, even to just start small for even next block party or the block party after with a Google calendar simply. And like you can synchronize a lot of information there. Sorry, there's cooking in the background if you can hear that. As well as maybe for a block party, you can have an hour and a half, maybe 2-hour intervals on certain topics, but with Zoom IDs already set up so that if people want to continue that topic, they have the ID already and somebody's allocated, whether they know the subject or not, to record as well as give everybody a chance to speak. And maybe after they record that, they can go back to the calendar that they're joined and maybe put down another day to discuss that plus subtopics that might have come up in their room while they were talking and stuff. I try to get it all out in 2 minutes, but my partner Kevin there made a good idea. We actually use a system called Teamwork for like we do workshops in schools and stuff, and like movie making and song making and all that. And I'm not sure if it's paid or whatever, but just like Google Calendar, you can have certain people to host it and edit it, or else people can just be in it for free, like I'm in it for free. And as well as a calendar, syncing it up to Google Calendar, I can sync it up to Dropbox with just one click of a button and all those different things, and have everything. So you can have, let's say the company would be Collective Intelligence, but then the projects would be the categories you want to talk about. And within those projects, like we have for school, you have tasks, and tasks are allocated to particular people or could be allocated to everybody. And then while you're there, you can link anything directly there to store it. You can make notes, and you can keep it all there even after the meeting is finished or the project is done. It still stays there as documentation, I suppose. So it's just a little something to look into that might actually help.
Multiple files stored and discussions with multiple individuals.
Oh yeah, Kev's pointing out there, you also have multiple files and multiple discussions. So I can choose to speak to, let's say, Jamen one-on-one, but I can also talk to all of you as a group. I can branch off into other different conversations, and it's endless really. So it might be useful all in one place. So it might be useful for something to bring in here in terms of organizing and structuring a meeting for future block parties.
And what's that called again, Stephanie?
It's called Teamwork. So Teamwork projects. When I go on to my particular link is particular to our company Create School, so well, the company we work for. So it's Teamwork projects, and they actually have webinars and all that on it to show you how to use it as well for each company. So it's just, it could be something to look in. I'll try and find the link and post it in. So that's me. And by the way, happy Paddy's Day to everyone.
Yes, happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you so much, Stephanie. So happy you're here. All right. And the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Up next is Stephanie's father, James. Take it away, James.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. And thanks for that, Stephanie. That was very helpful as well. Yeah, I'm only making a quick, simple one. Again, no, going back to the something that Jim and or Emery and Cara said there about introductions. So that is important and everything else, but just so that they can get that out of the way, because this is the conversation we're talking about here now, is strategizing, getting the calendar and everything sorted. So like basically, as regards to introductions, the introductions they'll always be done during the block party anyway. That seems to be the way everybody has already gotten to know each other during the block party. So as new people come into the block party, they're obviously welcomed when they come in, and people that's their chance and opportunity to do their introductions. When they do come into the block party for the first time, they're going to be wanting to know what it's about. So obviously we, as you do, Jamen, instruct to kind of look at the half-hour video and maybe look at some of the older videos on YouTube. So as regards to introductions, there's a time and place for that, and that I reckon is the block party. And then you have your agenda for the block party as well. But in regards to the general calendar, I'm just suggesting again now was that whoever wants to arrange a meeting, then during those block parties, anyone new that comes in, and if they have any reason for arranging a meeting or want to offer something, they can put up their link to whichever app they want to use for a meeting, and anyone that's interested will obviously sign up for that afterwards. And as that, as Stephanie said, those meetings can be branched off into some app like that she suggested, and it'll develop from there. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm not the best at tech, as I said, but I understand where you're coming from anyway in regards to how it all should be implemented. So I think we should stick to that conversation, right?
Beautiful. Thank you, James. All righty. We've got, what an amazing meeting. I just love it. See, this is collective intelligence in action. All of us contributing what we know and just making a beautiful conversation out of it. All right, we got 3 folks in the queue. Next, we got Dylan, followed by Brett, followed by Emery. Take it away, Dylan.
Yeah, thank you. On the public message board front, I thought for something that's pretty fluid and also can provide some visual components to it would be Trello. I don't know if everyone knows about Trello, but it's for free, and you could set up like a Radish Trello board and have collective superintelligence and everything, or you can break it up, of course, into the projects like SRM coronavirus and other stuff. So that's just one thought. People I think are publicly anyone that wants to post comments need an account, but you can put comments in there, links, and you can kind of have it visually organized, and that could just be the public face application. Other than that, all the CRM stuff like Teamworks, Basecamp, Slack, that can be sort of the internal Radish team or anyone else that wants to be more internal, but at least a public, bulletin board kind of way, Trello might be useful. Just my outside the box thinking there, if people like it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Dylan. Love it. I mean, so there's all these different services that folks are mentioning. I think it's fascinating. And so it's like, the questions that come to mind are like, where do we start? Of all these different web services, is there one that we can hang our hat on? And speaking of which, whatever one we choose, obviously it's going to have certain features we like, others that we don't like. And speaking of features and all that, Brett is just way futuristic and super cool on what I call Brett's Holonic universe. I know that's not what Brett calls it, but anyway, Brett, please.
I do now.
on that note too, just to finish off, I would love to see. I mean, Brett, if we gave some crowdfunding capital to you, I might be getting something soon. Even with carbon credits or whatever, who knows? Money might be coming to us. Like, can we just fund your development team, Brett, and just you build the platform? Do you have coders? And I just think maybe we just need new, what is it called? New map. Yeah.
Well, hello everyone, first of all. It's nice to see all of you. It's nice to see those guitars behind Stephanie. They're so lovely. I don't play that well, but I would still love to play them all. They look awesome. Yeah, oh my God, that's the kind of... And note to self, next time you get quarantined in a country, make sure it's a place where marijuana is legal and available. By the way, for everybody, don't get quarantined in other countries where it's boring and you can't get high. So yeah, it's good to see everybody checking in from the UK to say hello. I'll just respond to Dylan as my sort of check-in. I don't need to talk right now. I'll just get back in the queue as inspired. My only word of advice on the tools, my biggest thing is group consensus. So I personally would be more excited to be in a group where there's a couple people who might take all the collective intelligence and review some things, but then actually a couple people say, this is what we're going to try for now. And it doesn't come down to this thing where everyone's like, no, I like this one, because there's no tool out there that works, that has every answer, like you were saying, Jamen, and everyone has their favorites based on what they've used before or their own bias and stuff. And I find it highly annoying when it turns into a thing like, oh, let's use Slack, let's use Trello, and it goes around for weeks and weeks with everyone saying, no, this one's better. So I would just recommend a few people be kind of appointed in some democratic, whatever way you want to put it, if that's the direction the group wants to go, and then they take in the collective intelligence, but somebody just has the domain and empowerment to say, okay, this is what we're going to try, and really the people that want to be involved just go along with the experiment without too much resistance to the facilitation and to the choices made. And of course, there can be maybe we review it after a month or so. It's fair enough that, there's other things, but I would just be wary of getting caught up in that discussion. I've been in that discussion a million times, and nobody really likes that discussion because then you never really use anything. And then everyone's like, oh, but I like this one better. I like this one better. So just flagging that to be aware of anyway. It's the choice, the will of the group to decide, but I just flag that. And to answer Dylan, I don't have a coder to call tomorrow. I've got some favorite people. Most of them do need some kind of gift, remuneration, whatever word you want to use. I don't like transactional and salary. It's not really so much about but most of the people just are living and paying rent, blah, blah, blah. So it would be helpful to have some kind of funds to kickstart some development. And I've got a few people in mind who would be the first people I would call, and a UX guy who's excellent, and stuff like that. So yeah, and we have the prototype too, which is just offline at the moment. So I'm also open to finding a couple developers that would in private make an agreement with us to try to get it onto a server. Like some of you, I mean, Jeff, who's usually on the call sometimes, he might be on the Spiral. And I don't know if that's Lawrence or Jeff on the Spiral got down there. That's Lawrence from Live Hope, but it might be Jeff on the call. He's got his own servers and all that. So like, what we don't have is our lead tech guy who actually created the code. So we're in a transition space, which is another reason why funding is important, because we might need to like have that level of commitment from people. That at this point sometimes funding is the only thing that creates that type of consistency for people. But we're ready to like get into that space as soon as we can do something, and we don't need millions of dollars to start. I mean, it would be nice and all that, but well, the first thing I would do is look for this first person that could take the code, get it onto a server, and install it, and just see if it works right away. And then I would want them to have the ability to be kind of smart and creative in case it doesn't work and they can't call the original coder. So I'm going to be looking for some like kind of starseed, maybe millennial type, cosmic coders who actually would be able to probably on their own with a little bit of practice and time figure out how to make it work really. That's good. I'm all right. Everything else is cool, and I'm just going to list it and I'll jump in flow.
Beautiful. Thank you, Brett. So I'm going to, before we got 3 people in the queue, I just want to make a little bit of kind of framing for what Brett just said and to kind of place it in where we are right now. So there's you could sort of think of it like we've got a short-term focus and a longer-term focus. The short-term is what tools can we use right now to put together this whole infrastructure, this whole structure that we need to support collective superintelligence. And so we've so far been talking about a universal calendar so that all these meetings like this one and the ones that Charlie and Lauren are organizing with Kiko Lab and the ones that Open Air is organizing and this and that they're all in one place, that there's just a universal calendar. And then, for example, and then a map of topics and all that. How do we do that with existing tools right now, literally like right now today? And then what Brett's talking about with NewMap is sort of a bit longer term because it needs some development and it is just insanely cool. So we wouldn't be making short-term compromises. It's more like, all right, what do we really want? And then get that all built out. Just wanted to make that quick framing comment. Okay, we've got Emery next in the queue, followed by Jamen, followed by Kara, followed by Stephanie. I love everyone in the queue. I'm going to step away from the camera just for a minute, but I'll be listening in so I won't miss anything. So please take it away, Emery.
Thanks, Jim. So I want to acknowledge what Dylan has said and what Brett has said. And Jamen, you're right on track. We have to establish how and what tools are best to move forward. And last time I made the comment of Wakelet, this was my whole point with that. Trello is great. Google Drive and all these other things, the universal calendar idea, map of topics. Okay, but the whole idea for Wakelet is that you can put PDFs in there. You could put all sorts of things in there, and it's a collection. It's a collection. Okay, the collection is very very specific. You can have a collection of collections, collection of calendars. Okay, calendars that are important, calendars that will best serve radish.org and what we want to do. Okay, and each individual who's participating, it's an opportunity to get out the facts of how they're able to participate, what talents they're bringing in to seed the future, you know, so that we can accomplish our goals. So I think that it needs to be explored. At some point, you know, decision will be made, I guess, but in the meantime, it doesn't hurt to be allowed to use whatever platform you want, but it has to be linked in somehow. So whether you're able to post that at Radish or onto your Facebook or whatever, and to have that be connected, you know, at the end of the day, people have to be willing to go and meet the people that are involved. Okay, if you're involved here, yeah, I'm at the block party meeting, but I might not, I might have missed you. I might have missed your introduction. Okay, I might not be aware of where you are and what you're doing. Okay, so it needs to be connected, and Wakelet is the perfect solution.
Really appreciate all that you're saying there, Emery. In fact, one of the things that's coming to me is that we should form a community or a team right now with leadership to then go off and figure this out. I'm hearing some really good stuff about Wakelet. I've heard some good stuff about other stuff. Melissa seems to like Wakelet as well. That's awesome. Anyway, so let's think about that, about a team of us getting together and, you know, having meetings to really drill in and figure this out kind of once and for all sort of thing, at least for starters, right? Though the conversation is never over. And anyway, I could say more about that, but I won't right now because, oh, actually, I am the next person in the queue. So this is me talking. You know, oh yeah, one thing I wanted to say, I liked what you had said, Cara, on your last share about start out with a simple landing page. And on that landing page, have links to other calendars. Kiko Lab has a calendar, put a link to it. Open Air has a calendar, put a link to that. Radish has a calendar, link to that. You know, that's like a quick and dirty starting way. So rather than try to get everyone to integrate onto the same platform, just put links to stuff. So I'm a big fan of that kind of simplicity. Anyway, that's what I have to say for now. Up next in the queue is Cara, followed by Stephanie, followed by James. Take it away, Cara.
Thank you. I do more than that, and I do it on mine, and I don't even know a piece of what you know, Jamin, but I would take and make many landing pages for each thought, each kind of like pillars, and we try to keep defining simple pillars of what really we want and what you guys want. So I try to think for you, and I'm trying to think for me too. And I'm pretty clear on what I want. I just don't have the tech app savvy. But this way, like right now, instead of me wasting my time on your chat, see, I would take responsibility. I would go to radish.org. I'm signed in. I would go to that landing page. You'd have an archive of the logged in landing pages. I'd go to that subject matter and I would put in the links right now that I'm giving you, versus now I have to retransfer it, or you guys would put it in your notes where it'd all be organized and simple. As far as all these other entities and outsourcing, that's okay too, but this will co-evolve. If you just get some pages where people can link, you got the link, you put up a few site pages, and then the calendar, don't do what Health Talk is doing. And I gave you that link here in the chat. And what they are is they are a Health Talk calendar for functional medicine doctors. And basically, to make this quick and sweet, you know, we're all just really tired of being ill and watching people suffer. And a lot of these doctors were very ill and they had to figure it out themselves. So anyhow, that's why, you know, you need to compare. And then you need to say, okay, I think I'll take this piece with my doctor in Western medicine, and then I'll take this piece with functional medicine from this doctor. But see, their calendar, what it's gotten into is now all these freaking videos are on at once. And you could watch 7, 12 a night and free, and this is stupid. So see, this is where our human errors are all about here with our human consciousness, because we freaking don't know when to stop at times. And back to our immunities get worn. Back to now we pick up viruses. Now we carry viruses. So this is ridiculous. We got to get to a reality here where we're calm, simple, and people get their own shit together. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cara. Beautiful. All right. Up next is Stephanie, followed by James. Go ahead, Stephanie.
I just want to make a little small point, kind of what Bert said there as well. Like, you know, we can have this discussion for ages about what platform to use, etc. But at the end of the day as well, let's just say right now we decided a platform that works for everyone. We still need PR and advertising and pushing it out that way to appeal to the masses. And not to be ignorant, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but to the sheeple as well, as I call them. If you want numbers, we have to appeal to them. And so advertising in a sense that's punchy, fast, dramatic, reels them in. And right now with the coronavirus, we can plug, like, you know, stuff that, while, like, I'm thinking in my head, I don't mind doing this myself, is actually screen recording some of the chats and the poignant parts of, like, you know, dragging your voice, Jamen, underneath of what collective intelligence and the end goal of is with, you know, the multi-highway of conversation. Just talking about that, and then bringing the poignant points that people have made. But right now, even coronavirus, for example, we can just plug that for a little bit. And then even on Facebook, just for example, for €1, you can choose. A lot of people pay for advertising on Facebook, but like they don't actually go into the little details of it. You can actually choose which countries as well. So I think if you choose all the countries, it just goes up by like €1.50 or something like that. But I wonder if you made a snap punchy advert of what this is and what it's aiming to be, while plugging the coronavirus, not to say that in a bad way, I mean that in, like, you know, to just bring the people in and pay advertising for that. Like, I'd be even willing to pay the €2 or whichever, like, you know, just to put that out there again. Even if we find something tomorrow, we do have to PR and plug it and advertise as well. So yeah, that's my back.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. All right. Up next is James, and I don't think anyone's in the queue after James, so it's a good time to get in the queue if you got something to share. James, take it away. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. Yeah, that's a good idea, Stephanie. We do, and that's the point I want to make there as well about appealing, like getting numbers up here on the collective intelligence and getting more and more people in. The more people in, the more information, and the more, you know, more information that can be shared, obviously. So getting the numbers is important. As Stephanie said, we need to appeal to the sheeple. And so, yeah, in relation to that, somebody could get onto if anybody here in this conversation thinks that they'll be able to get onto somebody in the health officials in the WHO, the World Health Organization, and kind of, you know, offer this platform to them as a way of alleviating the pressures on them from people outside, you know, outside, looking for outside information, and different, you know, different parts of society from different countries are all, they're all stressed and they're all getting misinformation. They're all looking for information, and they're, like, the World Health Organization are under severe pressure now as well, trying to feed out that information to different sources and everything else. So we could offer the platform as an ideal way for people, the people on the ground as well, most especially, so they could advertise it themselves, letting people know that this platform is available to go for it, you know, to talk with someone, to get some information on various aspects relating to the coronavirus. They then will, after they filter in, they'll start to see that there's more to this platform anyway than just the coronavirus. But the point is that, you know, so yeah, so that we can get reliable information then from the medical officials in the World Health Organization to be posted then on this platform as well, so people can get that reliable information here. And we can redirect people then to contribute and to inquire where to inquire as they come onto the block party or whatever. We can anyone that wants to, you know, offer help, we can redirect them on how to do that by doing videos or whatever. And anyone looking for information, if there isn't a live video conversation going on, there'll be a recording of the last one that was going on with information attached to that.
Great. Thank you, James. All right. Up next in the queue is Cara, followed by Emery. Go ahead, Cara.
Okay, thank you all for that. I guess I'm going to go back to the landing page and the subject matter. And that can be done right now, Jamin. And as far as you guys, you know, then you'll get clear as far as, do we want to open or outsource like to this group, or, you know, the landing page will gather people together. And then to have a common sense where I think, Jamin, you're overemphasizing corona virus as being #1 on the planet. We have so many #1s on the planet in different countries, different groups, in ourselves. So I think, you know, that can be a category of critical issues. And then we quit deciding for others and give the respect of human dignity that we can learn and we can rewire and we can gain understanding, or we don't know. And then each person goes to these different categories that can be on one landing page, telling you where to go to the next landing page. And then somebody would sync, or your app would sync the calendar so that we don't have a bunch of stuff on one day all at the same time, but it's spaced out. And everybody, when each person posts on the calendar, they don't just post for themselves. They think about everybody here and like, what is priority? You know, and who, and then, yeah, to have a few moderators. So Jamin, you're not just getting overloaded with everything, but we take turns. We did that in Bellingham with the university, with farmers, had potlucks, had meetings, everybody took turns logging. We once a month had community where we'd shut down the street, and govs came and everybody, and we gave free meals from the excess food from the farmers. We opened up the co-op kitchen, utilizing the local community's resources where we don't have to own our own stuff, more responsibilities, where we can take care of priorities on the planet, on Earth, and then space, because there's toxic on both. So we need to prioritize. That's why my mode was, our focus was intro, real links, real experiences. One of the scientists went to Mozambique after the cyclone, many killed, many died, flooded, and he showed him with agroecology. I'll show you this exact ecosystem like yours. Those people don't drown. The water stays in the ground with agroecology. So see, that was my main focus, to start a nice flow of experienced, skilled people setting up our real whole food, because we have a serious toxic issue. It's pretty bad when govs allow high fructose corn syrup to be in our food to make us fatter, to make us crave more food. And I tell President Trump, you know, you're missing some big points here, putting out masks. How about stopping all this that's making us sick, making us ill? Okay, are you saying goodbye? Shut up?
You're almost at 3 minutes, and I raised at 2 minutes. I raised 2 fingers.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I got to learn the process.
I really don't like to mute people, but the policy that I've put out here is that at 2.5 minutes, I'll mute folks.
May I say one more thing, please? I can't hear some of you. Why? Why is it that I can't hear some people, but I hear you fine? Do I have to set an audio for each person on Zoom? Okay, well, what's going on here? Can you guys all hear everybody? Like the lady that was talking, Melissa, when she was talking last time, I had a really hard time hearing everybody, and I couldn't hear some of it. So, okay, thank you and goodbye. I'm sorry, guys, that I don't know your hand signal yet. I got to learn with you. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah. So just to be clear, when I hold up 2 minutes, that means that you've been talking for 2 minutes, and then that means to kind of please start winding down. But if it gets to 2.5, I'll just mute and let everybody know that I've muted the person in question. I see Melissa's got her hands up. Is it urgent, Melissa, or you want to wait in the queue?
I wanted to jump in really fast, so I'll be very brief.
Hey, you're very, sweetie, you're very broken up, Melissa.
Yeah, sometimes I can't hear at all.
Hey, Melissa, I need to get your attention, please. Can you hear me, Melissa? Okay, Melissa, can you hear me? A thumbs up if you can. Melissa, your bandwidth is very low and it's super broken. So here's my suggestion. When you want to talk, please turn off your camera temporarily so that your bandwidth is channeled through the audio. Now go ahead, Melissa. Let's try again.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to tell Cara that my bandwidth is not very great, and that's why you can't hear me very well. And I also wanted to say that sometimes somebody is talking about something really important, so I'm just wondering about this 2-minute thing, like if it's interrupting their conversation, how do you handle that, or we deal with that?
Okay, very good. That's one that we kind of struggle with, because some people just kind of by their very nature, are, need a bit more time to really get their point across. And so it's an ongoing struggle, because we have had people who will just talk on and on and on. And, I don't want to be here being the most unpopular person on the planet, shutting people up. And then everybody hates Jamen, and Jamen sucks. And, on the other hand, we've had some people who've gotten really long-winded and who interrupt other people, and, they think it's all about them. I'm not saying that that's the case for anyone here. Quite the contrary. Everyone here is being super awesome, and I appreciate that. So the short answer is, Melissa, I don't have an answer to that, and we're just trying the best we can to keep it all balanced. All right. Emery is next in the queue, followed by Jamen, followed by Melissa. I don't know if you wanted to be in the queue, followed by Cara. Cara, I got you. You're definitely in the queue. So Emery, please take it away.
Thanks, Jamen. Look, I just have this to say, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, okay? Now, as a landing platform, I take it that radish.org could be the platform, the landing platform, okay? It could be a collaboration hub where the right people and the right information come together. So radish.org could be a very well-developed platform to allow you, okay, to list a channel. Yes, list a channel. And your channel is where you can present the details of a project that you have in mind. Okay, you create the project, or you're going to be in charge of the project. Okay, and the nature of your projects are unlimited. Okay, and how do we expose the project? Well, we expose the project through the Superintelligence block party, collective block party. We expose it there, and and other places, social media, wherever we can. Thank you.
Good stuff, Emery. I like it. I like so much of the stuff that I'm hearing, and I think all of us are collectively just trying to assimilate it. All right, next up in the queue is Jamen, followed by Melissa, followed by Cara. Okay, so I want to respond to something that Cara, that you mentioned about, that we've got this kind of over focus on Corona. So here's the thing. We had been focused on solar radiation management and cooling the planet, and we got to do this or we're all going to die, right? And then Corona came along, and what we found was there's just like many thousands of people all over the world who are just like raising their hand saying, hey, I want to help with Corona. I want to help with Corona. And it's like, if that's where the people are who want to play, right? I mean, it's kind of like, here I am on a basketball court, spinning a basketball on my finger saying, who wants to play? Who wants to play? No one's showing up. Meanwhile, across the street, there's this big soccer field and thousands of people pouring on saying, we want soccer. We want soccer. So Cara and everyone, what I'm doing is I'm just saying, let's go to where the people are, right? And we'll build our collective superintelligence there. I mean, frankly, if no one was interested in SRM and no one was interested in Corona, but you had thousands of people wanting to play the kazoos for peace, right? I'd go to the kazoo club and recruit there and, build a collective superintelligence there. So my attitude is, let's go to where the people are. But having said that, very important, okay? The map of topics and people's ability to create meetings on this topic or that, unlimited topics. Talk about whatever you want to talk about and post a meeting on whatever you want to talk about. So I am not at all about saying, no, we must talk Corona here, or we must talk SRM. No. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. And because ultimately it's one world and all these solutions interact and participate. I'm holding up 2 fingers for myself so that to remind myself to start to wind it down. Let's see. We've got Melissa in the queue. Stephanie's posting stuff. I'm going to ask everyone just to get in the queue. So if you post something that you want us to all consider, just get in the queue and talk about it, even if it's for half a minute. All right, Melissa, followed by Cara. Go ahead, Melissa. Okay, Melissa seems to be away from her computer, and that's fine. Go ahead, Cara.
Okay, Jamin, I'll agree with your intelligence of feeling, humanity right now, but I won't agree with ongoing lack of facts when we do focus a priority. And those facts should be skilled. And even as I say, the controversy of many people doing skilled, we can't just go there. We can address these people, we can skillfully put in landing pages options the best we know, but like when I do all my things daily for what I do for me and for somebody else, I'm not going to sit here and dwell on coronavirus. I got other things to do. And what I want to do with my platform is I want peace on the planet. I want to end toxic, and I want to resolve in a calmly way with, I like you, Jamin, as long as we have the attention, let's do everything efficiently and do the best we can. But I'm not like you when I say anything. I'm not interested in everything. I'm interested in time-sensitive priorities right now of people suffering and people dying and the fucking scars continuing when we have all you guys that are such good techs. And not me, but many, and we have the tools of the times that are willing to perfect them. And they just need to listen to us, and we need to communicate as well. Govs, the govs are listening. Some of the leaders are listening. So I am very clear on not wanting to take hours and hours and hours and just talking. And just like as an example, back to the structure here, the tech structure. See, we were talking just tech, and then we were talking Corona, and then we were talking tech, then we're talking Corona. I thought we were going to stick to tech. So see, that's what happens here. That's what's always has happened, Jamin, with you and everybody. You have great heart, you have great respect, you people are beautiful, I love you. But at the same time, we don't get the technical structure done to be able to have each of us efficiently take responsibility for ourselves, respect each other, and put it all in. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. Landing pages can do that. And radish.org right now. And then from there, you'll see, okay, and calendars and a little moderation of people just simply respecting each other before we each post. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cara. I think we are talking tech right now. I think we have.
Yeah, but excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't mean to override you, but honey, we're also talking, even myself, Corona, because I hear somebody else talking Corona. So I understand, but can't we just get it to the point where we don't talk subject, but we talk blocks, we talk code, we talk app, we talk outsource, we talk titles of educational formats that you might want to use, not subject, whether it's pickles, kimchi, or Corona. We talk about that later when we have a landing page that's up for that particular subject. That's all I'm saying. Multitasking is not good for our brains. It weakens our immunity. We want to walk the talk. We have people suffering right now. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I just want to say I totally agree. No one's in the queue right now, so I'm going to jump into the queue. And I want to totally agree with what Cara just said. Let's focus on the tech until we have a structure that works. And then within that structure, if you want to come and talk about bubblegum and how bubblegum is bad for your health, go for it. If you want to talk permaculture and how that's going to feed urban communities,
Right.
go for it. Okay, Cara, I got it. You're in the queue. And
Okay.
yeah. And see, that's actually part of the structure is, you know, here we have structure. It's not perfect, but it's what we got. And so we're going with that. But I am in total agreement. Let's talk tech until we have a structure that works, right? And so just listening to the buzz here, it sounds like Wakelet. It sounds like there's a lot of interest in Wakelet, and that might be a good thing to use. So talking tech, here's what I'd like to propose, that we focus on how do we get a calendar up there? Should it be Google Calendar or something else, right? How do we get a taxonomy of topics up there so that people can navigate and see what's going on in each topic in terms of scheduled conversations, bulletin boards, discussion forums, etc. Nolan, I'd love to hear from you since you think about this a lot. I'd love to hear from everyone. So let's talk tech. What do we need, right? So let's start with a quick inventory of what we actually have. What do we have? Well, at Radish, we've got a website, radish.org, and we've got a block party, and we have a standing Tuesday meeting, which we're on right now, called the Solution Club at the Beginning of the New World. And that's what we got, right? And for the block party, we put up a calendar, we put up an agenda, and that we can refine. And so what's like, maybe the number 1, 2, and 3 next things that we want to add with a view to having a more robust structure that's more inclusive. And Cara, I know you're in the queue, and I'll call on you as soon as it's your turn. And so we've got Cara in the queue, followed by Emery, and I want to encourage, and followed by Brett. And everyone get in the queue. Let's get this sorted out. What do we need to do? First, second, and third. All right, my 2 minutes are up. Cara, followed by Emery. Go ahead, Cara.
Well, honey, I don't know why the landing page for a block party. Why not for the other standing to a landing page? A landing page for what do we do next? A landing page for the text structure. And then the calendar, bring in maybe more moderators. So are we talking about a paid subscription here? If you start outsourcing and using other stuff, who's going to pay for who's going to pay these other people? Okay, so never paid. Okay, it's always going to be free. Okay, well, yeah, but at the same time, I feel guilty taking your energy and not paying you. So how do I recommend that to someone else? You just do it free?
Wait a second. What do you mean feeling bad about taking my energy? I don't get it.
Well, if you and the guys that I know are skilled with tech, if you're gonna sit there for hours and hours figuring this out, and then I just come in and use it, is this something you want to give to humanity? That's okay then.
Yes. We want to be Santa Claus for humanity, gifting all this. We're none of us here that I know of are doing this to make money. We're all doing it because we want to do the right thing. So I just wanted to answer that question. Back to you, Cara.
Okay. Well, do you guys like my input? And do you actually feel like I'm sorry for that interruption. Do you like my input, and do you think that we can merge? Should I think of helping you with this message board? Do you even like the idea of, I'm not saying it has to be my priority. I'm saying what I say, you create upon it for each of you. And then at the same time, if somebody's not efficient and going in a direction, I'm going to keep going in my direction. And then if it's more efficient, I go there. If your direction is more efficient, I'm going to go there. But I'm going to go by landing pages. And then I'm hoping we have a priority landing page and we have good moderators with calendars. And all I ask is people just say the truth. If you can't commit a short-term, microsecond commitment, long-term commitment, all you have to do is find somebody else if there was a time-sensitive issue. Otherwise, put again up a landing page saying we need moderators and we need them this time. This calendar needs this, so that we don't have a calendar full of smush, but we have a calendar of, just like now, the coronavirus is important. Facts need to be laid out so you can assess yourself and then have skill guide you, which already are. But the links I gave you on the chat can be on that landing page under coronavirus as a priority. Okay, and not my priority, but skill. I'm sharing skilled doctors, so you people decide. Okay, thank you. I think my minutes are up, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Cara, for being sensitive to that. And I want to answer your question right away. I love that you are here, and I love your contributions. And I'm very grateful that you're willing to play with us in the flow that we're doing. I think you're brilliant, and you've been thinking about this a lot. You're super passionate, you care, and you bring this wonderful divine feminine to the conversation. We've got wonderful women on the call right now, but they're a minority. We need more women, more of the divine feminine, and we need you ladies to speak up and say it loud and proud. And, you know, it's a balance working within the structure, keeping it relatively concise and all that. I try not to be too heavy-handed, and I appreciate everyone going with the flow. So I hope that's answered your concern, love it. Please keep jumping in the queue. All right. We've got Emery next in the queue, followed by Brett, followed by James. Take it away, Emery.
Thanks, Jim. You're talking about landing pages, okay? In my mind, okay, I see Facebook as a landing page. You know, I see YouTube as a landing page. I mean, what a brilliant landing page. I mean, you get to make a brilliant video, okay? That video can spearhead, okay, can be a spearhead to radish.org. And you have a channel, YouTube channel, radish.org. I mean, these landing pages that exist right now, I mean, it's going to fall on your head, Jamen, but they've got to be kept up to date. And, you know, as we're connected with you on Facebook or with our subscription, okay, that's our connection. That's any individual who comes along and is struck by what we want to do, okay, with the goodness of our hearts. You know, we're not looking for money. We're not monetized, okay? I mean, people are going to clue in and they're going to be directed. They're going to know where to go. But we've got to tell you, to be honest, you know, the Facebook page and the pages associated with your Facebook page are not totally up to date. I mean, you know, but that's key, I think. That's key, and then go from there.
Good stuff, Emery. All right, we've got Brett in the queue, followed by James, followed by Cara. So take it away, Brett, and I'm going to be outside feeding the crows for a minute, but I'll take the laptop with me. I'm listening in.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Who built the Radish website? Is that one of you, Jamen or Nolan, or are you guys pretty proficient with that stuff, or was that like hard for you?
I'd say we're so-so. Nolan, if you want to jump in, we're kind of so-so. That's all I have to say.
It was Gaio who led the development of that a while back, and I've just been doing relatively minor updates. I'm not super familiar with I'm not familiar with WordPress from a software development standpoint at all. But from a content management standpoint, fairly familiar at this point.
So I was just curious, like if the website wanted to be upgraded and streamlined and things added to it, if we had somebody in-house that was going to be able to do that, was the genesis of my question. I was just curious, like if you were like, oh yeah, let's do this, let's add this, let's add that, like is there someone who's actually able to do that, or would that be another thing that we'd be looking for, is someone to actually help doing that? So I was just curious about that.
For most things, I can update the website relatively easily, but there might be some things I would need Gaia's help or help from someone else. Cool. It just depends on how complex of a project we're trying to take on.
Yeah, cool. And my other question was, because I'm kind of late today, so I was wondering if someone in their own voice could do like 30 seconds or a minute on just reaffirming what the collective energy is here. Are we talking of like, what is the intention and aspiration here? Is it to get more organized as a collective and begin like indexing conversations and breaking out into groups? Like, what is the overall like thing that people are really like? I heard structure, but that is kind of ambiguous to me. Is it the structure of how like the collective of people operate as a collective, or do you mean like the structure of the communications or the structure of the public? Like I don't want to like, I'm not asking to divert this whole conversation, so I want to be sensitive to that, because I know I joined late, but I also think it might be kind of a good idea to have someone speak to that, to see if everyone is like, yeah, because it's always good to reaffirm as well, like what is the thing we're talking about when there's all these different opinions and perspectives. So maybe it would even be helpful to just reaffirm, what is it that we want to do here? What is this? What are we talking about? But if that's not good, then also ignore it. Thanks for listening.
No. Brett, you are right on cue and right on time. And I want to ask for James and Cara just to be a little bit patient. James and Cara are in the queue. And I'd like to address that first, and then I'm sure we'll hear from James and Cara and everyone on this. So Brett, you're right on cue. And this should be something that we come back to from time to time. Hey, what are we trying to accomplish here? So let's have that conversation, and then we'll go back to tech, okay? And I just want to point out, this is a brilliant example of the collective intelligence guiding itself and guiding the conversation, right? Cara said, hey, what's this? It's a bunch of mishmash. We're talking about this. And then I'm like, you know what, Cara, you're right. Let's talk tech. So we're talking tech. And then Brett's like, wait a second, what's the end game of all this? Great. So we're diverting it. So really great collective intelligence, everyone. All right. So why are we here? And what's the objective with all this? Okay. I'll speak for me, and everyone speak for themselves. And that's how the collective speaks as a collective. What I think, everybody, is that, and it's funny, Emery just typed SRM into the chat window, which makes me chuckle a little bit, because I used to be all about SRM, and then we got to talk about SRM and all that. And then Nolan and Benjamin helped me to kind of expand my perspective and say, look, Jamen, not everybody is ready to talk SRM. People need to come from wherever they're coming from. And so the priority for me, answering your question, Brett, is that we create a collective superintelligence, and there's a lot to say about that, so I'm just going to use it as kind of a placeholder name, a collective superintelligence, which includes, among many other things, as we were talking about last week with the whole map and everything I put together, that it includes a conversational domain, which basically consists of a vast network of conversations like this one, and literally millions more. Now we got to get there. So before we get to millions, we first have to pass through dozens, and then hundreds, and then thousands. But, and for lack of a better word, an integrated conversational domain, where there is this community of humanity that we are kind of early pioneers of, that is willing to talk with each other and willing to talk with strangers and willing to jump into video conferences like this one that are broadcast. This one's not being broadcast, but the block parties are. But conversations that are being broadcast and recorded and transcribed and published and all that, and that it be a network, right? And that this network of conversations exist on a map, that there be a map somewhere that like shows, I'm going to make an analogy here. Imagine you take a political map of the earth and then there's a bunch of push pins in it, right? So the topical map is analogous to the political map of the earth. You know, just, these are the different topics. Great. And then the push pins, the thumbtacks, are specific conversations located at specific places on that map. But generally, a conversation might span multiple topics. So where do you put the thumbtack? On topic 1, on topic 2, on topic 3, or somewhere in the middle of the 3 in the Bermuda Triangle, right? For example. Okay, so a network of conversations spanning whatever topics people want to talk about. If Jamen wants to talk about SRM, he can. And if Emery wants to join him, he can. But if there's a bunch of folks over here that want to talk permaculture on skyscrapers, they can do that too, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So don't limit people or even corral people into specific topics that you want to talk about. Let them go where they want to go. So include a map of the world, in this case, the world of all topics, the toposphere, and let people create whatever conversations they want within that map, and specify if they're publicly joinable or invite only, or you can request an invitation and all that. So basically, the collective superintelligence, it starts with the conversational domain, but by no means does it end there. And I'm happy to show a map of kind of put up the drawing. And Brett, thank you. I know that that Zoom already has breakout rooms. That's an important feature. There's a bunch of important features, but what Zoom doesn't have is like the calendar and a whole bunch of social networking features that we're seeking to integrate here. And that's why we're talking about including other stuff. But back to the big vision, collective superintelligence, the heart is a conversational domain. And to make that work, we essentially need some, you know, either social networking platform and functionality, or, you know, something that enables people to join, post conversations that they want to host, have those appear on the universal calendar, have those appear on the universal map, so that we can get this going. So let's talk on this level of vision for a little bit before we get back to specific tech, just so that we can all kind of harmonize on what we're trying to do here. Is that fair? So what I'd love to do, if I can request that of all of us, is that we talk vision here for a moment, or a few moments, or a few minutes, before we get back to tech. So I'd like to turn it back to Brett, and then followed by James and Cara. But let's talk about why are we here without talking specific tech, vision, purpose. Is that fair? Go for it, Brett.
What's been coming up for me a little bit in the conversation is this really fine line of, I've been really enjoying the conversational aspect of what I've been doing with you since I met you guys a couple weeks ago. And I understand 110% the imperative or the desire or the impulse to structure things or take the next step. There's no one that really doesn't want that on some level. And then there's the part of me that's been, like I'm saying, that's also, as we've been talking, like, whoa, okay, yeah, of course, why not 100%, and not at the expense of the conversation somehow, which is not, I'm not saying anyone's suggesting that. It was just coming up for me. Like, there's something really important to me about what's been established in this space around conversation. So, and the spaciousness to have the conversation. I know it's happening in a lot of places, but so going over your list there, for me, the 1,000-mile vision is different. It's things we've talked about with next level technology and co-creation around the planet. Like, yeah, and everyone's working on that in their own way, and that's going to come back into the picture. So there's no question there's this sign of meta vision we all have that we're all really working on, even as we're speaking here, just by having these conversations. In the now, I'm kind of on board for like, to me, the low-hanging fruit is to have these how do we like best self-organize, like you're saying, multiple conversations, so not everyone has to come to the one room and talk about the same thing. Like for me, I don't want to talk about the landing page and how we're going to get structured. I've done that so many times, it makes me want to vomit. And I want to empower other people. I just want to have other people that are passionate about that. I want to empower them to come up with something that's good enough for now, safe enough to try, as they say in sociocracy, and then I try it. And then if I feel like it sucks or other people do, we'll all give feedback, basically. But I don't want to personally do that. And I don't want to come to a conversation where it's all 4 hours just about that, even though I know it has to be done. So I totally like the idea of the breakout rooms and having maybe shifting sooner than later into the culture of these multiple conversations, mapping the conversation somehow, like a first prototype of that. It could be that we use Kumu in a way that we don't usually use it, by mapping conversations instead of mapping projects. That could be something we could look at, a small group of us. Self-organizing and the specified, yeah. Anyway, to me, that's the low-hanging fruit vision. How do we best keep cultivating conversation and making that more joinable, accessible, and somehow leading to collective intelligence? Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Brilliant. Love it, Brett. Great comments. Let's keep it flowing at this level. Vision. What are we trying to accomplish? What's the big idea? And how we get there without being too platform specific. All right, we got James, followed by Kara, and after that, no one else is in the queue at the moment. So a good time to jump in the queue. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Yeah, loving the conversation as well. In keeping what you're saying there, no, about building the platform. First of all, I know I just wanted to, for those that are commenting on text there all the time, is this recording going to be put on YouTube, Jamin? It is? Well, then I would suggest that anyone that is commenting on text, and if they're putting up actual key information for people, that then the viewers of YouTube won't see those comments. So it is important that they might come on and say those comments in person, even if it is only a minute or so. Steph's video, Steph is on about doing a video there, and as Emery said, using Facebook as a platform or whatever else, that getting people on board, that's important as well, obviously, to expand on the conversation and the amount of rooms. But we already have a number of people already in the collective conversations in the last number of weeks that could already now start to offer an hour a week or whatever that suits them to have their own Zoom conversation separate from the block party, and we'll advertise those different meetings then on the block party itself. In regards to what Brett was just saying there about he loves the conversation side of it. Again, I'm going to reiterate that that's what the block party, the 24-hour block party, is the conversation that we all kind of get to have our introductions and get to know each other and talk about the various aspects, as long as we're sticking to the agenda that Jamen have for that 24 hours, more or less. But that is where our opportunity then to break off into our, as Brett was saying, our other campfire conversations. Campfire conversations then in particular in relation to whatever those people are in particularly want to talk about. So that's the block party is the platform for breaking or for deciding who wants to offer a platform, another platform for a conversation at a later time during the week. And anyone that's up for it then can go there, because it's all going to be recorded. It's all going to be, the info will be posted. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Getting the word out to people is important, but having the conversations, letting them know that there is a place they can come and talk to.
Beautiful. Thank you, James. All right, Kara is up next, followed by Jamen. Take it away, Kara.
Okay, and thank you all for that. And I really apologize because I haven't been 100% on top of all of you guys, what you're doing and where. And like the last gentleman, what he just said, see, even the block parties. And when I talk landing pages, I was talking simple of what you could do right now. And that would just take a few minutes for you to go on your Reddish and open up a few more pages and title them block party, or title them, you know, mishmash. You want to, or title them tech. But you know, when you talk about the tech, like the other gentleman that said, you know, bringing up the fine line. I mean, when you get into tech, I'm studying strategic marketing now, and I walked into a bunch more of ecological horrors that are entrepreneurs that make millions. I don't want to make billions. I just want to be able to pay for my message board and get the tech that I need. But you know, even with Google, to do the ads that I offer for you guys, if you want to give me some ads, even now, you know, Google ads, you know, 3-4 lines. I will direct. I can't put your URL on. I can put my URL on. I can put a landing page for you guys on my site, and then that's what I'll do. I'll advertise, and you tell me where, what country, or just I'll do the world, and then that's what I'll start sharing. You know, just come visit us or whatever. You tell me the words you want, and I will seriously give you time forever. No, because I've watched you guys for a long time, and the mishmash keeps continuing. And I can't afford to do that because I got scammed, I got human errors, I got bills to pay. I need to work and I need to focus. I don't have a Santa Claus, Jamen, like you. So the point is here, though, when it comes to tech structure, I just use that word until you guys find a better one. But you know, you want to find the click rate. You want to know who's responding to your web page, where you can advertise more so more people are coming aboard, so that what we say, what you say, people are actually comprehending what you're saying? Or do you want to just leave it in mishmash? So I think a management system for a technological structure, if you want to reach the world, why be so freaking cheap? And then if you don't want to do it, pay for somebody to do it. Then now we can have an archive, we can have a log. Those that don't want to talk tech, there's a lot of people that don't know tech. Don't worry about it, honey. You can just go to the log, pick out cooking, pick out Corona, pick out emergency. We need you, no matter where you are. Can you do this? Can you do that? So see, that's what I'm talking about. And as far as being able to, like what Melissa said, for 2 minutes, see, once those, and when I say landing pages, yeah, your ideas for going to other outsourcing social medias, that's all good tools too. But then, like what Melissa says, when you're on a subject matter, we each can just talk. We don't have to be moderated with your fingers. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Cara. Yeah, I was holding it up for three minutes. You were coming on 3 minutes. I hate to mute people, but you know, and again, this gets back to what we were talking about earlier. So Jamen is next in the queue, and there's nobody in the queue currently after Jamen. Brett's in the queue. Good. So you brought up mishmash, Cara. You know, and it's true, at some of the meetings that we've had before, we've had these notions of structure that are now really coming into focus. They were mishmashes, and we had to start somewhere. So we just started by meeting and talking. Our very first public meetings that were weekly were literally called the Social Club at the End of the World, because we got so fed up with the end of the world coming and so little organized, intelligent, breakthrough efforts to avert the end of the world that we said, look, if the end of the world's coming and humanity's not doing anything about it, let's at least have a social club and have tea and crumpets while we await the end of the world, right? It was kind of a, you know, kind of a dig on humanity in general. Since then, we've become much more focused. And so, for example, at this Friday's block party, it's not a mishmash. We have a schedule, we have an agenda, we stick to that agenda. If people want to come in just for a certain portion and then leave, they can do that. But the food fight is over, okay? That happened, it was fun. Some people got hit in the head by chocolate pudding. That was all funny, that was all great, but you know, sorry kids, the food fight is over. We're now getting much more structured, including in this very meeting right now. Right now, we're having an organized, structured conversation about what are we trying to accomplish here, right? And to mention something to build off something James was mentioning a minute ago, is that with the block party, you know, it's true, that's a great place to go to have, you know, conversations and whatnot, meet each other, say who you are and all that. But we're now at a point where We want to basically slice and dice the block party to get even more structured and more boom, 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 you know, right on point. So then we can invite all these different groups to come and check in there. Let that continue to be sort of like a hub for these conversations, because it is one place where everyone is welcome. And then from there, start to branch out so that these different groups can organize their own meetings outside the block party, as well as having a slice of the block party. And that's where we talk about the universal calendar and the universal map. What a great conversation. We are getting there, people. Everyone, stay on your horse. Don't fall off your horse, and keep jumping in the queue and keep sharing. Brett is up next, and I don't think anyone's in the queue after Brett. So a great time to get in the queue. If you want to, take it away, Brett.
Thanks, Jamen. I just want to say I freaking love muting. I'm so happy you put your fingers up for everybody. I'm one of those people that absolutely 120,000 million% love forcing people to have a limited amount of time. To me, it's all equal because it's not like we get one chance to speak. So for me, it's the best of both worlds. And for me, it's not a lot, just like you said, Kara, to ask people to take the responsibility to like go to a web page. For me, it's equally asking people to take the responsibility of keeping some notes by themselves. And if they haven't said everything they need to say in the 2 minutes, then just get back on the queue again. It's really just a matter of trying to avert people talking forever and ever, which a lot of us are familiar with. So I personally am a big fan of that. And even if we had breakout rooms on topics where everyone was on the same page, I would still personally be interested in having a 2-minute rule, because I just don't like it anymore when people talk for 25 minutes and then the next person does. That would make me not want to show up, but that's my personality. But as long as there's multiple chances to talk, for me, it works out really well. I'll just reaffirm that I'm really into, Jamen, like this idea of the taxonomy and indexing and finding out the simplest way to get going on prototyping that somehow, whether it's using a Google document and YouTube channels. I don't really care what it is. And I'm personally less interested in bringing more people into this space than getting a prototype going and then bringing more people into the space. So as more people come in, we have this like prototype in action. Again, that's just me. I totally respect that there's multiple intentions and passions in the group. But that's the one I would be most drawn to, is like, how can we create this map of the conversations? I don't use websites. I'm still surprised people go to websites. I've gotten jaded, I guess, by social media and conversations. I have trouble like going to websites and looking through them, but a map of conversations would be interesting. It's like I click on that map, on that conversation on SRM, and maybe there's a YouTube channel with all of the videos that have been during the block part. I don't know what it looks like, but that's what I'm excited about in this space. So thanks for listening. That's got to be at least 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just going to cut in there and say, Brett, that's exactly it. Give your eyes and your fingers a break and give your mouth a chance. That's what people need. Have a conversation with other people.
That's it. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, Kara is next in the queue, followed by Jamen. Take it away, Kara.
Okay, Brett, I didn't understand the one word you used, but I can identify with you. But you know, the oral biome series right now with dentistry, they do that when they're editing. They go a few seconds here, a few minutes here, and they keep jumping from one person to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. And meanwhile, there's like 10 people. That to me, maybe it's my brain, but that was not calming for me. Where if you choose where you want to be, you can shut it off or turn it back on. And especially when that video is there to see again. But to have a nice conversation where one can complete the flow versus not having their brain wired and they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. When, like in my intro, I was even thinking about AI, where it would come in, you self-reflect, I need this. I'm gonna log in on the message board because I have a need and offering. Okay, meanwhile, an AI should come up, or a telemated person. Okay, well, how about understanding or self-reflecting what the local plan's needs, and then get in a little bit more, and then you actually have a moderator maybe that says, maybe this person needs support in processing or rewiring, whether he's tapping, if you guys know tapping, or you seriously work into Chinese medicine or whatever way you choose. Sadhguru with, he's a yogi teacher, but I'm just saying, so each person, we can't predetermine for everybody. So to put up 2 minutes and to put up this, yes, I believe we should moderate for sure, because I'm one that yada yada is, and I don't even like my own yada at times, but I do try to edit and respect others. So, and then back to the landing page. See, even now, that's just for radish.org to put up a page that says this subject, and like what you say, it can be called the conversation. And then it has all the links, and people are prioritizing, knowing, how the subcategories are there, so that you don't just have this long archive list and get lost in it, or your merchants. I'm not interested in any of that either, but it's really pleasing to be right on board and flow in life and get what you want and feel like you're being respected and appreciated because you've got a good group of people you chose to be with, and you're open to the world to explore.
All right, I just muted you, Cara, because you're at 2.5 minutes, and this is building off of Brett's I love the mute button comment, so we'll stick with that structure. And Cara, feel free to jump back into the queue. All right, Jamen is in the queue, followed by Dharmendra, followed by Brett. What Jamen has to say is what an awesome meeting this is. And, the big idea, I think we're really getting close. It feels like we're circling and circling, and we're almost there, where we have a universal calendar. We have a map of topics and conversations. And if you are interested in a given topic, you click on it and you see all the conversations that are happening currently, that are scheduled in the coming weeks, and that happened previously. And the conversations can be of two types: video conference, discussion forum, or message board if you prefer, like Reddit, right? I really think with like Zoom and Reddit and a map and a database, and a calendar, we could totally do this. So we're like almost there. So let's keep it flowing. Please don't get offended if I mute you. We're just sticking to structure here. We got Dharmendra next in the queue, followed by Brett. And Cara, are you in the queue later? Just raise your hand if you are. Okay, great. All right, so we got Dharmendra, followed by Brett, followed by Cara. Take it away, Dharmendra.
Quick question before you go off. Jamen, are we still discussing the big picture vision, or did we shift?
We're still discussing big picture vision. What are we trying to accomplish here? What does it look like? But without getting stuck, we can use tech as examples, but without getting too stuck in tech that's too specific.
Yeah, no, I'm not that great at it anyway. I'm just your basic, fix hardware and stuff kind of tech guy. So anyway, I just remember the conversation that you and Nolan had about 5-6 months ago when we first came together to explode this vision like it's happening now. And we discussed the three levels, and we said, let's start with the kind of technology we have now, which we're all digging into and trying to figure out how to make happen. And then the second step was that hyper interconnected network of simultaneous conversations along channels all over the place. And then the third step we had mentioned, which we were developing all along, is where we literally are able to do that interactively without even any technology outside of ourselves. And so for me, originally, when we met, it's coming up on 6 months now, having our pizza after the Vegan World 2026 conference with Silas Rao, et cetera, and we were sitting there chatting, and it struck me about collective intelligence. And I said, I've been working on a thing called accelerated collective evolution for like 26 years now, and I'd love to explore that with you. And then you said, I do this Zoom thing. I said, great, then that will take it on air. And so along with everything that's developing and all these really interesting, super cool ways of getting information across in multi-dimensional channels and all that, I think goes hand in hand, us also evolving our consciousness. So we're not just creating a super hyper intelligent network, but with people that are still the same as they were before, the same old people. So we're really going to use hyper intelligent networks to be the same old earth and people that we are, that created this mess in the first place that we're all in. So that I keep having to mention that point. We need to evolve along with it, not just talk about evolution, but actually get into, as I do, the shadows, your gifts, your siddhas, train it, start to get familiar with that. I think that should go hand in hand with all of this, right out of the center of where all this is coming from. Otherwise, we're not going to seed any kind of higher consciousness into any of this. It's just going to be another, possibility of trying to, make life a little better on Earth. And I doubt it's going to do much more than anything else has ever done at this level of consciousness without evolving. So it just seems apparent to me that we have to train evolution, our consciousness. I'm good. That was enough. Wow, that took 2 minutes. Cool. That was enough.
Awesome. Yeah. I think 2 minutes is a great window. All right. Brett, followed by Kara, followed by Emery. Take it away, Brett.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check out in a few minutes, so I'll just listen to the last few comments. So I just want to say thanks to everybody. I'm in the UK, so it's a little bit late for me. I'm sorry I didn't say it when I first joined. I had a little bit of limited time, but it's great to see everybody, and I'll see you again on Friday for a little bit too. It was nice to meet you, Kara. Yeah, so have a beautiful rest of the week in quarantine activities. And again, be thankful if you live in the marijuana zones. Or other things that you like to do. I'm in a little town in Northeast England, so I've gotten some kind of karmic, something going on from my life learning lessons to be stuck here. So I'm just going to check out after I listen and quietly check out. So thanks, everyone. I love you guys.
Totally. Awesome. So great having you here, Brett. Thank you for popping in and blessing us with your time and insights and everything else and experience. And please do hang out as long as you want. And it'll be awesome to see you on Friday. All right. Next up in the queue, we've got Kara, followed by Emery, followed by Jamen. Take it away, Kara.
Okay. The gentleman before Brett, yeah, that's right on, because the reality is, if you're talking about a collective consciousness here, that takes us to a whole new part, because, now it's not just a matter of doing tech the way many do it, but you're consciously in each micro moment along with it. So that means now it can be a mishmash. So again, do you want to be human with what triggers what? I'll give you a good example here. One of the persons that I'm working with right now on a peace platform in another country, I'm channeling with him right now while talking to you guys. So I don't know how far you get into this consciousness or even want to have that conversation of paranormal. And I'm not stable enough to say to bring these people aboard, but I do know I've set a frequency for myself by centering and grounding me and trying to not have a footprint, as well continuing to lower my footprint. But at the same time, this has fucking freaked me out at times, because I've taken a photo or I've had a premonition and then they're happening. So Windbridge is one that does science, and Fox teaches you how to work with the deceased, talk to them. But I chose not to go that route. I was kind of too preoccupied with my own path that was dysfunctional. So I didn't get into it. Same with when I would take university courses. So I couldn't really comprehend, and that's the problem with education nowadays. They don't really care about, or have it, maybe they care, but they're not structured to deal with you interpersonally, where your head's really at, where you're really rewired or wired before you get into having more information loaded on top of you. So if we're going to be conscious here, what you said, Jamen, about, I'm addressing all the people now to bring it in so that they can support us, but that's not good enough. You need to say you do care, and I know you do care, and you do have a heart, and we do care about everyone that is out there worrying, because they're fricking up their immune system and they will get more susceptible to more disease. So that's all I have to say there. So anything I say, like I say, anybody wants to talk more, you can set a time or a date, or you can call me personally or email me. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kara. Beautiful stuff. All right. Emery is up next, followed by Jamen, followed by Dharmendra. Take it away, Emery.
Yeah, thanks, Kara. Thanks, Jamen. Kara, maybe you could leave your contact information in the chat. Now, what I came on to say something, is that I recently, you know, came across something, and I have a sort of like an observation to make, because Zoom is becoming more and more popular. I'm finding as I'm watching more and more videos, I see more and more people using Zoom, okay, in their presentation, in their live streams, okay, and it's very interesting how they operate the live stream. You get onto Zoom, the Zoom link is put in the description box for the video, like the YouTube video. So people who want to participate in the video, they come into the Zoom, they take the Zoom link and they come into that video. But you don't get to stay in the Zoom meeting, because you're following in with that particular direction of the conversation. So you're kind of in and out. So it was interesting, you know. As an observation, I'm just presenting that.
Fascinating. All righty. Jamen is up next, followed by Dharmendra. And I just want to, you know, kind of help bring clarity back to the whole vision thing. I have created a little image here, which I'll screen share really quick. So this is sort of a map of collective superintelligence as I see it. It's just pencil drawn. It starts here in the lower left, and it goes counterclockwise all the way up to here. It starts with the conversational domain that we're in right now, having a conversation, and these multiple parallel lines represent multiple parallel lanes. Think of a multi-lane highway of all these different conversations happening in parallel, and people can jump from one to the next. So that's why I see this as the starting point of collective superintelligence, is the conversational domain. That will lead, by having conversations, this will lead to deeper understandings of problems, of solutions, of our visions for global transformation. So we just get together and talk. That's the starting point. And then as we have this deeper understanding, we can map it out. And that's where the taxonomy of the topics comes in. Taxonomy, and we can talk more and more about that, but it's just a map of all the different topics that are relevant, that's logical and structured in some sort of a logical way. Based on this and a deep understanding of our needs and what we need to accomplish, then we can generate ideas for solutions. And I use brainstorming as an example for that. We can talk about that. The best ideas then go on to the design stage. That's a great idea. Now, how do we design it? How do we turn it into an actual complete design? After design solutions can then go on to the global modeling stage, where we model these solutions. What are all the impacts? Positive, negative, intended, unintended, etc. Let's get clarity on that before we start launching a bunch of stuff in the world. I'm going to hold up 2 fingers because I'm at the 2-minute mark, and I'll mute myself in 30 seconds. And then optimization comes after that. How do we find the optimal set of solutions, and then detailed implementation plan? So that's kind of the big picture as I see it. I'm happy to go back to that. But it all starts with the conversational domain. So right now, I'm mainly focused on the vision of how do we, you know, guys, I was just modeling muting.
Yeah, that was cracking me up.
Okay, good. All right. So next up is Dharmendra, and Dharmendra is the only one in the queue at the moment. I'm gonna forcibly, not forcibly, but I like to say it jokingly, I'm gonna forcibly insert Nolan into the queue so we can hear from him. So Dharmendra, followed by Nolan. Take it away, Dharmendra.
Yeah, re what Cara was saying, that just a little feedback on the whole thing about channeling. Something I definitely do not do, because I spent decades meditating, and as a result of that, some kind of threshold was crossed in my consciousness to where I was able to access higher frequencies of consciousness, probably what you would call something akin to like angels or whatever, but I don't like using that term. I'm not Christian. I wasn't raised that way. But so I work with three different layers of consciousness. I'm an internal martial art teacher. I've been doing martial arts for about 47 years. So I on the subconscious level, working with the animal instincts inside of us, and refining that through Tai Chi, Qigong, and all those kind of things I've taught all over the world. That's my basis. And then in the middle, I work with what's called the gene keys, or you call it human design. I call it the life codes. I am making my own way of doing it because I've spent 2.5 decades working with that. And that's about our human dimension and how we have shadows, gifts, and then we also have our higher self. So that's in there too. And I train this stuff too in Vegan World 2026. I have weekly meetings and I do groups just like this doing that. I'd like to introduce it eventually into what Jamen just showed us. I'd love to take that into that and open it up, the levels of consciousness in that. That would be a gas. And then the third level is what I call well, it's not what I call it. It's a Sufi transmission that's ages old called the periodic table of angels. It's basically just like the periodic table of the elements, but at the opposite end, closest to the source. 104 angels. It's incredible stuff to work with. I was introduced to that over a period of 9 months. Nobody taught me. My third eye opened at a certain point after years of meditating, and I was able to use it because I understood Gurdjieff's understanding of the Enneagram, which is not typology. It has to do with transformation of substance, whether you go upscale or downscale. And there's a whole process to that. And so I just wanted to clarify that that's kind of what I'm bringing to the table. That's what I introduce. That's what I bring in. That's a real brass tacks, dried way of saying it. It's much more juicy to actually do. You can ask Jamen or Nolan. They've done dozens of those kind of sequences with me over the last 6 months. So anyway, I just want to throw that in to clarify. So it's very scientific, it's very specific, it's very spiritual, but it's very down to earth and it's very practical and it aims to transform life. Thank you, Jamen. I'm done. All it takes is 2 minutes.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dharmendra. Oh my goodness. So much. See, there's so many cool parts to this. All right. Well, I have not so forcibly inserted Nolan into the queue. So Nolan is up next. The man we've all been waiting for. Some call him Silent Bob. Who is this mystery man? Nobody knows who he is. Nolan, take it away.
Hey everyone. Kara, thank you for being here. Really glad to see you here. I read some of your stuff, must have been months ago. I don't exactly remember when, but it's cool to actually see you on here. I'm feeling the need for, well, I'm very excited for us to break out into some different groups, communities that are communicating between each other, because I'm already getting the feeling that that there's some conflict with people joining the conversation as it is now, and it kind of having a mode or a culture, and it's not everyone's cup of tea. Yeah, so I feel the necessity to break out here, Kara, I totally hear you with your concerns about, you know, basically just way too much talking and information getting lost. That's huge. And I've had this feeling for a while now that we need some breakthrough, like I think Brett's gone now, but some way of structuring information, and like a break away from traditional websites. I'm just starting to see those as being really limiting. I'm visualizing these graphs, and nodes of information connected to each other, and okay, anytime anybody's talking or looking for information about veganism, for example, there should be a place for that. It shouldn't be you have to scour all of these different places via Google and then get recommendations from people by word of mouth. And so that I've been pretty frustrated with that, not sure exactly where to go with that feeling. I haven't come up with a really satisfactory solution myself. I think it looked like Kara had a comment to make, so I'll hand it off to her.
Great, and just a moderator's note, I let you go long there, Nolan, because we hadn't heard from you in a long time, and so sometimes as moderator, I'll make slight changes just to accommodate whether it's Stephanie or Nolan talking for the first time. Kara is next. Followed by James. Take it away, Kara.
Nolan, I just love you. You're just the sweetest person. And I just had empathy for you, honey, because I think I'm a lot older than you are. And I know how this is tricky. And maybe Dramandra can help us here. But, the reality is we're already doing everything. It's just that maybe you're not labeling what you're doing when you're doing it. But if you tune in, I find that we can define it, because I know when, right now, I have a person that is in the government, he is a leader, and he don't read my text. He feels my energy, and that's why he's with us right now. I can feel him. And I'm working seriously to stop a war with him. But at the same time, he knows that what I do is very important to me, and I'm trying to learn from you guys as well. So, but at the same time, my own daughter, who's beautiful, Mom, all these words are not necessary. My own man doesn't even like Google. No, there's all this stuff. And yeah, we have to be human with ourselves first. And see, one thing was tapping I wasn't really aware of. Do you guys know the thing of tapping? And it's basically, actually, I'll throw in Dr. Leon Hammer, who I'm very happy to say he's 96 years old right now, and he's got a free Oriental class. But he did psychotherapy Western ways for 50 years and could not heal people until he brought in Eastern ways and studying 50 pulses. And I'm happy, Leon, to have him alive. But at the same time, so everybody, the tapping is basically you're trying to rewire your brain. But see, I was always a positive person, even when I was young and I left home young and raped and all these things in my life. I don't get these hangups that women do. We put ourselves in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then we want to blame somebody else. But the reality is, you got to get into the negativity. And functional medicine now, I see where they're taking childhood experiences of trauma in adults, and these people are being helped to figure it out. And Buddha monks have told me before, and I deal with Dalai Lama as well. And when I first met him, I didn't know who he was or what he was about. We were having lunch together and we picked him up at the airport. And then it was really cool. Everybody's putting out a red carpet and I start laughing, Dolly, who are you? And it was really funny. But anyhow, so we still go there. But the point is, no, this is crazy how our minds, we're a resultant of our experiences of all these frickin' scars on the planet. And this is serious, big time shit. And I don't like being in it, and I'm not going to be in it. So I really try to focus with you guys because I think you also have that heart. And our vision should be to simplify all this, and we don't need to get lost in all this information. We just need to keep it simple. And it's pretty crazy because I need to go because this I shouldn't say this person is always not listening to my text. He's actually just texting me right now. So he probably is either wanting to add to the conversation but I do need to go, excuse me, okay? And I will be back. But the point is, we really seriously need to realize right now, honey, we can do that. We can go learn more of channeling, and we can simply be with one in the ethers with our frequencies. And then the other time we can help these souls that we've all been there with misinformation ourselves, and we can help them. Melissa can help with simple art with the children and us all adults that still need to understand these skills. So I need to go though. Let me go, and thank you all. And if I don't come back another time.
Kara.
Thank you.
Kara. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
We'll see you soon. Come back.
Priorities over you guys once in a while. I got to go back to work. So I really enjoy all of you. Keep the good work up. So thank you very much.
Likewise. And please keep coming back, Kara. Thank you.
Thank you. You know where I'm at. Holler.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to jump in real quick and say I got to go too and take care of everybody and see you at the block party. I hope.
Awesome.
It's always been fun as usual.
Awesome. All right.
Bye.
So it's so James is next in the queue. I first want to make a quick comment that I would actually like to continue this meeting beyond the normal stop time of 3 p.m. Pacific time, which is 13 minutes from now, because it's such an important one. I first want to kind of take the temperature a little bit. Nolan, Dylan, Emery, Stephanie, Fred, James, how's everyone feeling? Just jump in with a quick comment about, do we keep this going? Do we stop it in 12 minutes and go do the vegan thing? If people are feeling this, my inclination is to keep going with it. In which case I would pop over to the vegan just to let them know that I won't be there today because we got this going on. Quick comment. Yeah.
Yeah, quick comment. And the only comment I wanted to make there was just in relation to what Nolan said. I understand where his frustrations are, and he like in the sense like that he's picking up that people are getting slightly frustrated with the but that's what this conversation is about, the structuring of it. Anyway, I'm hoping tonight we'll get that sorted anyway. Like, so I just want to basically role model built in a day. You know what I mean? But we are getting there. We are getting there. So I mean, I just wanted to say that Rome and built the day, and we are getting there. I'm up for staying on longer anyway.
Great, thank you, James. How are other people feeling about this meeting and going on longer versus stopping in 10 minutes?
Emery here. I'm okay. Just thought maybe we could take a little break there, grab a few things.
Yeah, we can break for as long as we want to break. We can take 20 minutes, whatever. Break for lunch, whatever, right? And in fact, if we're going to do that, why don't we start the break in about 10 minutes? So that'll give me an opportunity to pop over to the vegan meeting, check in, let them know what's going on. Anyone else? I'd just like to hear from people. Do you want to stay on? How are you feeling? We take a break and then we continue. How are people feeling?
I definitely think we need to take a break for lunch. I'm a little concerned about going on because it has been almost 4 hours now. And I think it's good that we be really clear about I don't know. I don't want to get too hung up on, you know, just getting something done to feel good about getting that done, whether or not it's useful. I understand there is a temptation to just get a bunch of stuff in writing, you know, as an example, just because by doing that and getting it all in writing, it feels like, okay, now this is something that's actually done and it's permanent. But at the same time, I think we need to be careful about how much time we're you know, I don't know. It just it feels like we've spent a lot of time, and I'm questioning what exactly we've done in the past 4 hours, other than, I would say, you know, kind of initiate Kara, which if that's all the past 4 hours were for, which it's not, I would still say that's a pretty good use of the time. But I don't know, I'm just kind of expressing my own I don't think I think I'm different from a fair amount of people in this group, in the sense that I don't think I do a lot of my best processing in these like large group conversation settings, or it requires that I have a pretty solid connection with everyone involved beforehand and kind of can speak their language, which maybe it's easier for all of you to do because you just had more experience and you've worked and talked with more people, so you get that feel for anyone faster. But yeah, let's break for lunch.
That just comes with interaction and practice anyway, Nolan, and we all have to do that because we're older than you. So, you know, don't worry about that, man. You know what I mean? Not all of us are the best at talking. Some of us don't shut up at all. You know what I'm saying? So don't worry about that. You're young, we're older, much older. So we just had the experience of interacting with more people, that's all. So we're better do you get an opportunity to have these practice and conversation anyway now than on this platform with some decent people.
Well,
All right, awesome. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
yeah, I like what Nolan was talking about. Made a lot of sense, and it was nice to meet Kara. You know, she did have quite a strong point of view, and she did miss that thing about coronavirus, though. You know, the shutdown of industry. You know, that's Guy McPherson thing. When we're lowering the you know, the dimming, you know, the global dimming thing. So that's it fits right in with what we're all about here. You know, and about talking, you know, I've never been one to get onto these chats. You know, this is all new for me. You know, you'll notice in the first few block parties, my interaction wasn't very verbal. You know, but I'm getting acclimated to it. You know, I'm warming up to it bit by bit. I'm not saying I'm going to say the perfect things every time. You know, I kind of construct my thoughts and then put them down in writing most of the time. And you know, but you know, it's nice to be able to talk to like-minded people who have a similar vision. And you know, let's take a break. Let's see what maybe you can go over to the vegan thing there, Jamen, and tell them, look, we'll have an ongoing thing over here. You know, no need to close the whole thing up totally, right? You come back a certain hour, we could even put a certain hour to come back if you want. I'm flexible.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking. At the top of the hour, let's break for 30 minutes. Does that work for people? Is that enough of a break? In that time, I'll pop over to the vegan meeting. Nolan, I have one request for you. When I leave to go to the vegan meeting, would you stay in this room for one more minute and then simply send me a text? Hey, Jamen, when you left, the whole meeting shut down. Or, hey, Jamen, after you left, the whole meeting is still going. You know, one or the other. But just text me at the top of the hour, seconds after I leave, ideally, just so I know. And even if the meeting does get shut down, just come back 30 minutes later, and it will be back live. I promise you. Same link, same everything. Okay? So we will break for 30 minutes at the top of the hour. That's 4 minutes from now. Any other quick comments before we break at the top of the hour?
Just in relation again, there note about Nolan was saying again earlier there, previous to about what you were saying about not being comfortable talking, but previous to that, I'm sure Jamen was taking some notes anyway as we were talking there tonight. So I'd imagine once we come back there after and we take stock of what we were talking about, you'd be surprised the amount of information we actually did discuss tonight and get through. I'm sure we've made some progress anyway, other than just getting introductions with Cara and that as well, which was lovely. She's a lovely woman, and I'd like to hear more from her in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think we covered a lot of good ground. And, you know, in answer to Nolan's question, you know, what came out of the last 4 hours? Here's an answer. It teed us up for what we're about to talk about in half an hour, where we can get further clarity and really nail this thing down. So I want to get this thing done. How, you know, even if it's simple, not full featured, whatever, but let's get the main stuff covered so we can start this exponential growth of collective superintelligence in a properly structured, organized way that's simple, easy, free, and that finally brings us all together as humanity. It's like we're just butterfingers groping around. We just need to come together, and we need the right tools to do it. I think we have them. We just need to select from the menu. You know, this is like a Chinese restaurant with a 20-page menu, and there's like a bunch of stuff. Whoa. Let's pick from the menu what we need, take it home, and put it together. And so that's what we're going to do, starting in half an hour. All right, I'm going to leave this meeting. I'm going to look out for Nolan's text, letting me know when we're... Yes, Nolan, go ahead.
Before you leave, and I think this will automatically stop. Actually, I don't know if it'll stop your recording or not. Well, you're going to leave anyway. I think if you just explicitly, like right now, transfer host to me, then I think the meeting should stay open and it'll be fine.
Okay, I'm going to transfer to you right now. I'm making you host, not just co-host, but host. All right. Change host. Okay. Nolan is now the new host. It still says we're recording. It'll be curious to see what happens after I leave. I'm not going to stop recording. And then please take note and just text me, Nolan. Let me know what's going on. Jamen, you left and recording is going on. Jamen, you left, recording is stopped, whatever, Send me a text, please. I'm going to pop in and say hello to the vegans, and then I'll see you all in 30 minutes at half an hour. Bottom of the hour. Okay. We'll see you all in 30 minutes. Thanks so much, everybody. Love you all. See you all shortly.